already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York,
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
That like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the NBK. Born and raised up NBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.
What?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knicks family. Welcome to the channel. Dope Soul Sports Talk, Dope Soul Knicks Talk, a member of the NBK family. This is the week. I'm your host, Stephanie, and this is the weekly show where we're just kicking it, or as I like to say, just nicking it, talking about the storylines as they relate to the New York Knicks over the past week. And we got a few things to talk about. You know, is Brunson the star we've been looking for? And not to say we don't need somebody else, but do we already have a star in-house? We'll talk about that with the panel. We'll talk about RJ Barrett. You know, he usually gets off the slow starts. We're 50 games in now. I think it's a little bit more than a slow start. Is this who he is, or is he just struggling this season? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about those participating in the All-Star game. We'll talk about the first half of the season. Can the Knicks win 50 games? We got 22 games left. In order to reach 50, they would have to go 13-9. Can they do that? And more realistically, can they move up to 5th in the Eastern Conference? I think right now we are 2 games behind Brooklyn Nets. Anyway, let me welcome in the panel. Ron Cleveland in the house. Man. How's everybody?
I can't complain.
I'm blessed.
I can't complain, man. Man is right. The Knicks is back. We back.
Yeah. I feel like,
what's going on with your boy?
I'm good, man. Good to see you, man. RJ, good to see you too, bro.
Hey, man, what's up, fellas?
What's going on with your CSK?
Good. I'm good.
Hey, man, all right.
Yeah,
man.
Steph, you had asked me to come on for a while, so I saw you hadn't got on yet. I said, let me go ahead and come on the show. I appreciate all the time you used to support me. Really do.
Of course. And miss you too. You know, so I'm glad you can make it. And you know what you just said is what I said earlier in the week when me and Tony Crow was talking. I feel like the Knicks have crossed over, so to speak, and that we're now in perennial playoff championship contending. We need more players, but that's the track that we're on, and that we've kind of hopefully, and I believe we have left the lottery track alone, and we're on a different track. But we got to keep building. Don't get me wrong. And it just feels good to be on this side of the track, so to speak.
Yes, it do.
You know,
I'm tired of being at the bottom. You know, I rather be mid or on top. So it's been years we've been down in the barrel. So I'm happy where we at.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, Steph, y'all. Hey, and I said it, a few days ago. Man, I said, you're not gonna hear me say front office malpractice no more. They done proved to me. They done proved to me that they're doing what's right by this organization, man. And more importantly, you're not gonna even hear me say the coach in the front office ain't on the same sheet of music no more neither, because these moves that they've done and all the moves they were trying to do prior to the trade deadline that didn't happen, all that stuff screamed to me is that was Tibbs all day that they trying to. Hey, think about it. We all know. You remember at one point, the voices were clamoring, were coming up for Tibbs to be fired.
Yes.
And that's when Tibbs said, bump this, man. I'm going to that 9-man rotation. And if you don't play defense, you ain't playing. If I'm gonna get fired, let me get fired my way. And that's what
Fact.
screamed to me. That's why I was like, man, I said this thing. And then to see how he handling RJ, and I knew we'd get into that. But yeah, I'm convinced they on the same sheet of music. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is, and I agree with you. I think that he's like, listen, I'm gonna get fired. I'm on the hot seat, and I'm playing people I really don't want to play, trying to develop people I really don't even believe should be in the rotation. Okay, I got it. And then the next thing you know, 28-17, 18 million on the bench. Derrick Rose on the bench, and listen. Now, the last holdover is Obi, because I think if it was really up to Tibbs, I think Obi would be on the bench too. I think they back there saying, "Listen, he only getting 10 minutes. Just let it ride. We'll do what we can in the off season."
Yeah, that's what I can't wait for. I'm excited to see what happened in the off season. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. So let's get right into it. We'll start positively with Brunson before we get into RJ Barrett. So we've said that the Knicks need a star, So I guess my question is, do we already have one in Brunson? Is he a star right now? Do you believe he's a budding star? And even if you do think he's a star, do we need another one? But I guess we should start with, what's your definition of a star? Because all of us have different definitions of what a star is. And then answer whether or not you think Brunson is that or on his way to being that. And we'll just go around. We're going to go Stafford, Ajay, Ron, and we'll mix it up. And in the chat, Stafford, let me just shout out the chat. Rebuild, NYK, Jeffrey Clafter, Ilmatics, Corey Lee, JJ, Shurin, Geraldine, A-Train. Appreciate you dropping by. Kevin Bergen, Corey Lee, Greg. Y'all know my condition. I ain't gonna get to everybody.
Sherwin.
Yes, Soul Fingers in the house.
Shout out to the chat.
See that. All right, 12. Soul Finger 12 West Coast in the house. Ashley Inc. That's right. Smash that like button as you enter. I appreciate all of you for showing up as you usually do. Appreciate you. Go ahead, Stafford.
Jalen Brunson. Oh boy. I mean, as I said it before, last time when we spoke about Jalen Brunson, I told you I had to confess that I didn't think he would have been showing out like how he's showing out right now in New York. And I look around all of these podcasters and I listen to all of these podcasters, from the SNYs to the film school to the it's a couple of them, and all of them have high ratings of Jalen Brunson, right? A point guard that we haven't seen, that we need in decades to really stabilize this unit that we have right now. And we have a point guard that can stabilize this unit right now, because over the past, I believe it's either 20 or 30 games, my man been averaging like 28 points. You know what I mean? Like all-star MVP numbers, right? And
over the last 10.
Right. So, nobody never thought that he would have been this good. And, everybody was talking about we overpaid him. Well, guess what? He's been playing out that contract like if it was nothing. He already outplayed that contract, right? So, and I really think that he really deserved to be in that All-Star, right? So that being said, if he's a star, I don't know yet, right? I will have to see more when we get to the playoffs. I'm not saying that he can't be a star, right? I'll put it like this: what Queen always say, he's a budding star. He's rising to the occasion. But I got to see him put this team on the back in the playoffs and let us win a series. And I believe once we win that series and he take us to different heights, then I ain't got no problem in saying that how we got a star that we signed that changed the franchise into a good direction. So for right now, I will put him as a budding star right now on the rise. But I'm not willing to give him that 5-star quality as yet.
Fair enough. Ajay?
Okay. Salute, Queen,
Salute.
Ron Cleveland. Again. But before I go into the Knicks, I just wanted to say a quick rest in peace to brother from De La Soul who passed away on Super Bowl Sunday. True Goy the Dove, one of my favorite poets. So I just wanted to shout him out real quick.
Yes.
I have a very simple answer to your question, because on this show and on many shows, our definition of superstar is somebody who can go get you a bucket when we need one. Superstar. Jalen Brunson can get us a bucket when we need one. So the answer to your question is yes, he's a star. We know he could do it. We've seen him do it. We've seen him do it all season. And we've seen him do it in the playoffs last year. Can he do it in the playoffs with this team? We don't know. But we know he can definitely do that. He can get you a bucket. He could put the team on his back when it needs to be done. So the answer to that question, in my opinion, is yes. He is. In fact, he's like the threshold. He's knocking on the door of the threshold of being a superstar, because based on our definition on the show and on many other shows, he can get you a bucket when you need it. So yes, he is.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Ron? You're on mute.
It's funny you had this question because shout out to Uncle Freezy. We had this very discussion, I believe it was yesterday.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you like this: when it comes to me for a star, you got to be able to just for a man CSK just say, man, you got to be able to get a bucket when we need one. Can we count on you night in and night out? When the game is in the balance, when teams making runs, can you stymie runs? Can your imprint be felt on this team from the time you get onto to the floor till the time you go off? Can you really see a precipitous drop off when that person is on the floor and when they're off? When I look at Jalen Brunson, when he ain't on the floor, this team don't look the same. And in my opinion, the guy is absolutely a star. And for what staff has said also, we know many have come, many have gone out of New York City. The pressure cooker. That's what I like to call it. You know what I mean? And for what I see in him, he's definitely a star. And I can tell you this guy has had, I believe they said 15 30-point games, 3 40-point games. What he did in Dallas. And then I can't forget what he did in college. I can't forget that, because that's part of your resume too. Even though it ain't NBA, that's part of your resume, and you going up against Division I basketball players, not Division II, none of that. You going up against the best of the best. And this guy done won 2 championships on that level. I got to look at that in its totality, and I got to say the man is a star, and I'm going to go one even further. We actually got 2 stars on this team, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
It's Julius Randle too, and I got to give him the reason why I got to say he's a star. 2 out of 3 years on this team, the man is going to the All-Star. And the way he's playing this year is better than the year he won the MIP. And right now, the man is seventh in MVP voting. And after that disastrous last season, which we knew it was all mental for him, it wasn't about his performance. It was the mental aspect. For him to come back, lesser players have choked in New York City. And I think Julius Randle don't get enough love from the fan base. And for the people that still want to run him out of town, I don't know what you expect him to come through the door. It must be Michael Jordan coming back. You know what I mean? So we got 2 stars on this team, man. There's 2 stars.
Wow. I guess my next question then is, if we Stars win in this league, and I'll give you my take on it in a minute, but I got to get the question out before I forget. Y'all know my condition. So one or two, it takes at least one, usually two stars to become a championship contender and to win in this league. If we're already saying that we have one, maybe two stars, are we saying that we don't need anybody better than those two guys? We just need a really, really good player on this team to take this team to another level? Marinate on that while I give you my take on Brunson. I'm gonna still say he's a budding star, but let me tell you, the only caveat is the playoffs. But as somebody said in the chat, we've seen him in the playoffs. We've seen him in the playoffs. We've seen him in the playoffs without Luka. Like, they don't even get out of that. I believe it was the first or the second round when Luka was hurt. They don't even get out of that round if it wasn't for Jalen Brunson's performance. Because I think he missed, 2 or 3 games or whatever. That series could have been over by the time he was healthy enough to return. And listen, stars struggle in the playoffs. I remember Paul George struggling in the playoffs. I remember Embiid struggling in the playoffs. If you don't have a good enough team around you, they can load up on you. I seen when LeBron, he was in Cleveland. They was playing San Antonio in the finals. LeBron couldn't do nothing. They loaded up on him, and there was no release valves. There was nobody around him that could take the pressure off, that San Antonio can now pay attention to them and give LeBron a little more space to operate. So as much as I want to say, I want to see him in the playoffs with the Knicks, I've seen him perform in the Western Conference Finals. I've seen him do his thing. And even this season, I think we can put to bed, and I've said this on the morning recap show, we could put to bed the narrative that longer, taller, stronger guards bother him. I've seen him score Embiid. I've seen him give DeJounte Murray the business yesterday. I seen when we played Brooklyn, they put Mikal Bridges on him, 7 foot, wingspan. It meant absolutely nothing. So I as much as I keep using the word budding, I don't know if I can argue with the fact that this guy is a star right now. But the question is, before I let Tony and Soulfinger in, what does that mean then? Usually if you got a star or two, you don't need to bring in another superstar. You just got to fill out the rest of the roster. Is that what we're actually saying? Let me bring these two guys in. Tony Kroll, Soulfinger. Hello, fellas. How are you?
Queen, I made it.
You made it.
I made it.
My podcast brother. What's up, man?
Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. Peace to the panel. My guy, Ron Cleveland, man. The man.
Yeah, Tony, it's been a while, boy. It's been a while. Your Black is time. You're right. It's time. It's time for the Knicks to do that thing. You heard me?
I hear you.
Do you guys want to weigh in on is Brunson a superstar before we move to the next level of question?
I don't know if he's a superstar, but he's a
star.
He's definitely a star. That's hands down, no question.
Wow.
If you remember, my my thoughts on how do you determine if a person is a star? It cannot happen, in my opinion, until you perform in the playoffs. You know what I mean? You have to, like, you could be budding, absolutely. Mm-hmm. But once you get to that playoffs, that's that determining factor of who you are. So Brunson, I'm gonna give him the nod, the thumbs up. Randle is yet to be determined, and I say that because he didn't have a good playoff series, right? He didn't perform in the playoffs, but he's in that budding category. You know what I mean? He has to do it when it counts now. We've seen it on, I'm gonna say 3 consecutive seasons, because as bad as he was last year, the numbers was still in that same range of 2 years ago and this year. You know what I mean? It's the other things that determined his bad season, in my opinion. The attitude, the you guys all know about it. And then as far as your second question,
Well,
and
let
I
me
love-
let Stafford. We're gonna go around. Let me let Soulfinger, and then we'll go around with that second one. There was something I wanted to say. Well, no, that's okay. Soulfinger 12, welcome to the show. I believe this is your first time. Appreciate you joining us.
Yes, indeed. Appreciate it, Queen. Hey, esteemed panel members, my other half of the one-on-one up there, my man Stafford Don. You know, hey, it's been a while. Hey, like I said, it's my first time on the show. You gave me the invite. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Finally got some time. So I'm gonna give you my answer when it regarding the Brunson. It's gonna be real quick. Yes, that's my answer.
Okay. All right. So all of us are saying yes, or even if not yes, right there. So then what do we need? I mean, when you talk about being a championship contender, usually you're talking about having 1 or 2 stars. We got 1. Most of the panel agrees that we have 1. A few believe we have 2. So do we actually need someone better than those guys, or do we just need to fill out the rest of the roster? And those guys still need to grow. Don't get me wrong. Tony, you're on mute.
You're muted, bro.
My bad. Here's the thing. At their positions, Randle, Brunson, it's gonna be hard pressed to find someone better than them at the point guard and at the power forward. So do we need to get someone better than them? If it's at the small forward, the shooting guard, or even the center, then sure. You know what I mean? But if we're talking about an upgrade at their 2 positions, we're going to be hard pressed to find that. So what I would say is it's closer to the ladder of bringing in the right pieces around them, and continuing, like you said, they're not done. Continuing to let them grow, develop, and become the stars that I think they can become.
I agree with this.
Yeah.
100%.
Let me just read this super chat. Y'all know my condition. This was before I even came on. If I don't read it, I'll forget it. Kiorian James, I hope I got that right. Curious to see y'all do one of those guard tier list templates. I'm not sure if I quite understand that. Guard tier, like what tier in terms of Brunson, like what tier is he in terms of point guards in the league? Okay, we can do
I
that.
think that's what
I'll
he
hold
meant.
that.
Yeah.
All right, I'll hold that for the end. We have some free time, but yeah, continue. Anybody else want to weigh in on? Do we need to add another star? We just need to fill out the rest of the roster.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I need to see more in the playoffs from Brunson for me to say he's a superstar, as SK said. He didn't say he was a star. SK said he was a superstar. And
But
superstar to me is, listen, that's what you said, bro.
No, I said he was at
Superstar
the
to me-
threshold.
The threshold.
Yeah. That's actually the exact
You're gonna
term.
rewind the tape and we're gonna look at it, but you did say superstar.
No problem.
But to me, a superstar is definition of LeBron, Giannis, KD, Irvin, all these guys that has been winning a ring, has major endorsements, and you see and they are known worldwide, internationally. Bronson is not there yet. He's not a superstar, right? The question is, do we need a superstar?
Or just another star. I mean, you may not be able to get a superstar.
And you said she said someone better than them is what
Someone
she said.
better than them. Like
well, to tell you the truth, Queen, all the real superstars right now is getting at an age right now where they're getting old and about to go out the league, right? So I mean, Giannis is still pretty young. Devin Booker, he hasn't done nothing yet. I'll call him a star. He's not a superstar to me, right? And it has one or two others that I could call a star, but I would have to see Jalen Brunson take us to the Eastern Conference Finals, or even a conference, the same thing, right? For me to call him a superstar in that sense, we don't need anyone. So, in fairness, I really can't answer that question yet to say that how if we need a superstar,
The question
but
was a
if
star. But let me ask you
well,
this: what has Kawhi and Paul George, two players that I think all of us would say are stars, they haven't taken their
well,
team to the Eastern to the Eastern, excuse me, the
yeah,
Western Conference Finals. And the reason I say
Kawhi
that,
has won a ring.
okay, but the point I'm trying to make is you're asking one player to drag your team across the finish line. What does the rest of the roster look like? So I would agree with you if we have, like, if you look at Philadelphia and you could say that's a championship contending roster, and Embiid is the best player on that team and they don't get it done, then yeah, I'm a point to him. But if you don't have a championship contending roster, I'm not gonna get on a guy because he wasn't able to carry his team across the, to the Eastern Conference Finals. You got to look at how the roster is constructed, in my opinion.
Well, I mean,
Queen.
we do have role players. Excuse me, and to what Ron Cleveland said, we do have and my man Black as Town, we do have a budding star in Julius Randle. So I believe I'm not going to put all the onus on Jalen. It is a team game, right? And everybody has to chip in for them to reach that goal, which is a championship. But what I'm saying, as far as saying that if we need an extra star, I can't answer that question yet because I don't know where this team could go yet in this race that we are racing right now,
Right.
in either to get to a certain seed or to get to a certain level. So once I see the season over, then I could probably say, you know what, we probably need an extra star to go along with these guys, to help us reach that goal.
That's
So,
that's fair.
I'm
so
gonna.
Steph, what was the question originally again? Because you asked,
Yeah,
it
I
was a
know.
good question. I just couldn't remember it. Forgive me, I'm getting older.
Yes, you ain't got to tell
Queen,
me.
he's got the same condition as you, Queen.
He got the same condition, right?
Hey, yeah, hey, look, I was having one of them senior moments myself up over here.
Right. I was saying that most of us said Jalen Brunson was a star.
Mhm.
A few of us said that we have two and Randall. So now I'm saying, usually when you're a championship contending team, you have one or two stars. Are you saying that we have that already? So now we just need to fill out the rest of the roster? Or do you feel that because we have two stars, we can stop looking for a star unless one, obviously falls in our
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
glad you asked that question. That's actually a good question. The fact in my mind when I look at this team, Brunson is definitely a star, and one can argue the way he's playing, especially over the month of January, averaging 30 with about 7 assists, and we know his turnover rate is always low to pretty much non-existent every game. It really shocks you when he have a turnover. He's playing at a superstar level, but the only reason why he's not a superstar, to be a superstar, you got to have a body of work.
right,
You know what I mean? Longevity of doing it.
right,
But the fact that he's playing at a superstar level, and Julius Randle, no doubt in my mind, is a star. It reminds me similar of the situation. Shout out to Stabber because he brought up the team I was thinking about. When you think about Milwaukee, we all know Giannis is a bona fide superstar. Brunson game is playing at that type of level, at a superstar level. What do Giannis have as his sidekick? Shout out to the boy from Charleston, Chris Middleton,
Mm-hmm.
who at times looks like a star.
Right.
Who does Brunson have beside him? Julius Randle.
Yeah.
And so for most teams to be effective and to go somewhere, that third option is what we need. We need that person we can count on night in and night out. Because in this starting lineup, there's two guys we can count on every night showing up, putting up their numbers. And that's Julius and Brunson. We still waiting between RJ or Grimes to take that third option. Because that's not solidified. And until we get that solidified, once we get that solidified, then we can go somewhere. I don't think we got to necessarily go stargazing anymore. I'm done with that. And Tony Crow, you was all in my head. It's gonna be hard to find somebody better than them guys at their position. Matter of fact, I forgot one kudos on Randle, and shout out to Alois for telling me about this. Randle is, I believe, leading the league in first quarter scoring.
Yep.
So let that sink in. Hey, the Knicks are in a great position, and it really bodes. It really tells us why they were trying to do what they were trying to do at the trade deadline. They was trying to get this thing solidified. They were trying to get it solidified. So
let me just answer Sherwin, and then those who didn't get a chance to comment on that question can comment on it. So Sherwin is listing all of the players that are better than Brunson, but the point that he believes is better than Brunson. But the point I'm trying to make is there could be multiple stars in the league.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to be better than Tyrese Halliburton to be a star. Both of them could be stars. I'm not saying Halliburton is. He doesn't have to be better than Jamal Murray or John Morant to be a star. Both of them could be stars.
And if you're gonna
that has nothing to do with
if you're gonna do that, grade him on his head-to-head matchup. You know what I mean? And if you want to do the head-to-head matchup, he gonna knock a couple of them people right out that list.
Good point, Tony. Good point.
He was cooking a couple of
agree.
those guys. So, and when I said that, I didn't mean there weren't people better than him. I'm saying it's going to be hard to actually acquire someone better than him. So
Good
those
point,
two
yeah.
guys are the guys that are the staples. You know what I mean? If we're going to get somebody better than those two guys, it's probably not going to be at their position. That's all I was saying.
Right. And
That's a
Sherman
great
is the
point.
one who says Randle is a star.
I
To
agree.
me, you can't, if you're saying Randle is a star, how can you say Randle is a star and not say Jalen Brunson is a star when Jalen Brunson, when I think about stars, the clutch has to be part of it. Clutch performance has to be part of being a star. When you need a key basket, you need to be able to go to somebody and know they're going to deliver, despite the fact that the other team know this is who you're going to, and they get it done anyway. That's Brunson.
Hey, Queen, you just gave me the definition right there. You know what you just did? You just clarified the difference between a star and a superstar for me. A star can get you there, but that superstar, when it's needed, when that basket needed and everybody know he's gonna get the ball and he still can do his thing, that's what makes him a superstar. You can't stop him.
Even though you know. And people are saying, I'm gonna get to you, Soul Thing, and people be like, oh, the Knicks are so predictable. We need listen. When you're in the clutch, everybody know the ball is going to KD. Everybody know the ball is going to Kyrie. You ain't gotta run try to fool people. They know where it's going. But there isn't anything you could do about it. So
well, it just in regards to Brunson, one thing we got to know, we've already seen what he's done in the playoffs. Keep in mind what he did last year. Yeah, granted, it's not with us, but what he did in Dallas. And they said, well, can he do? And I'll be one to admit, this is back when Ron had his show. We talked about I like to get Brunson on the team with the Knicks, but I'm not sure if he can carry a team. Ron and I talked about this on his show and off camera. So that was my whole thing. And I'm gonna be honest, I was worried about the hype thing and everything. But then when I watched Brunson get down, I was like, oh yeah, he good. He better than what. And you saw what he did when Luka was out, and during that little split in the playoffs, you saw what that man did. So he proved what he can do. And he's all. And granted, he had some games with us. He didn't get that he didn't hit the winning shot, but he's willing to take it. And that's what we need. And if you notice, he brought balance and stability to the team. So is he a star? Yeah, you can say, if you don't want to say a star, if you want to just give him a whole thing a star, you say he's a budding star. I'm not going to say superstar, but I look at the man as a star because of what he's done. And he has a body of work from one organization to where, and keep in mind that he was undrafted and he's doing what he's doing.
Second round pick.
He was second round. I'm thinking, you know, I'm thinking of
Fred VanVleet.
Fred VanVleet. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, senior moment. Both short guys out there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, yeah. But the thing is we got something special in New York. And I'd be honest, and anybody seen me call on the show, I'd be the first one to say I haven't been the biggest Tibbs supporter because I kind of, you know, with some moves he made. However, I roll with what he does. The man's got more basketball than I ever would know. But what they did, what he's doing now, and you got to look at what he's doing. He was doing things before he got a superstar. I mean, I got a star on the team. We don't have a superstar, but we got some stars on the team, couple. The thing we could do, you know, if you're talking about upgrading, I would say small forward maybe. But the thing is the way they're playing and the addition of Josh Hart, that actually really, if you think about it, can take a little pressure off RJ to see what we can do. Gives him a little time to grow. I know people say, man, he's got 4 years to grow and blah, blah, blah. Look, I'm frustrated with him too with some of the stuff he's doing. Right. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going, hey, right hand to the man. Hey, I'm frustrated because some games RJ has me like Trey on Boys in the Hood swinging at the air with some of the stuff he's doing. To be honest with you. But Grimes and Hart can offset some stuff. Now, if somebody comes our way, because we don't have to star chase like Ron said. Let this thing build. It's like cooking in a crock pot. You don't rush in the crock pot. You let it cook, right? It takes time.
It's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come.
Exactly.
So I think you build that team, and the stars will come. The superstar. Yeah, I mean, people will want to play here.
I think that's what the front office is doing. I think they not really. The priority is not really chasing a superstar. And I think they said as much. They said that from the beginning that they want to build a culture to make people want to come here. I mean, think about it. You know, there's one thing we're not saying about the team we have right now. That's very important. And we can't underestimate the fact that those guys want to be here. They want to play here.
Good point.
That's very important.
Well, you know, real quick, and I don't mean to snatching it more time, but remember when Bridges got traded over to the Nets and what he said. You know, you heard it. Oh yeah, I love playing in MSG. And you looking at he wants to be over with his Nova crew. So it's stuff like that because if you playing with, because a lot of players want to play with a point guard, you're not gonna get the move. You know, some say he doesn't pass the rock enough or whatever else, his assist or whatever. But if you got a point guard, if he's cooking, doing what he's doing, and not only just his passing, but people don't, you know, we talk about what Randle does. Randle passes the ball as well. You know, you got a power forward that's passing the ball like that. How many times he's finding people?
Right.
So we just got to let it cook in this crock pot. You know, I'm not going to jump out of the window and all this other stuff, but I actually like what we're doing. My expectations, I mean, I said it's like Mad TV, lower expectations, not in a bad way, not sitting up here all, you know, going crazy over everything that happens. Right. Just keeping it even kill because, you know, I questioned the moves. They made some better moves. Then I had to step back and I'm like, oh, okay, let me pump the brakes. I see what you're doing. So I'm just gonna ride along. Look, I'm paid my bus. I gave my bus pass. I'm just gonna ride along, see where we go. That's all I can do right now. But I actually we went 3 straight. We beat, you know, we're beating teams. We beat teams before we made this trade that people said we weren't gonna win.
Right.
And it was thanks to Randle and Brunson. So you got to take that in, and you know, you got to take the whole pie and look at everything that we got going.
Yeah, and they're gonna get better.
A person in the chat that even said that we wasn't even gonna win 10 games when Mitchell Robinson went out. And we 8-6. And we 8-6 without Mitch. So that person who said that, you got to eat crow right now, bro. And you know who you is.
I'm gonna tell you like this, Steph. When Mitch went out, me personally, I thought our season was in jeopardy. I thought it was pretty much over.
Me too.
I'm not going to even front about
Me
it.
too.
Look, I'll be honest with you, Ron.
Nobody, and Mitch's value, I'm glad you brought him up. Mitch's value is felt right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody coming, driving their cars and parking it all in the lane. I mean, just doing what they want to do. When Mitch was here, that wasn't going on. You know what I mean? We beating teams right now because we outscoring teams. We outscoring teams.
I would say
and
this,
defense
Ron.
is a big part of it too, Ron.
Yeah, but Hartenstein, hey, our Hart has been playing a lot better though, and it's, so with in a dark cloud, you can't get some sunlight to break through. And I'll be honest, when Mitch went down, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous like those cats on Maury waiting on their result. I was, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah, I was crying, boy. I was crying when he went down. And I'll say this last thing, Queen, and I'll give it back to you. What you were saying, when you look at where the Knicks stand, I think we don't have to worry about chasing players. I think it's getting to a point because they're finally building this thing the right way, is that the Knicks gonna get to a point where they're gonna have to turn people away. And I know that might sound strange for me to say it today to a lot of people, but I'm more of a visionary person and optimistic at the same time. And so when I look at where this team is to where this team was, right now, there's nobody that's of the national media outside of the fans and some of the fans would not predict that we would be in the playoffs right now, that we would be in no seating talking about no playoffs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we ahead of schedule.
Say it with your chest, Ron. Say it with your chest, Ron.
We are ahead of schedule.
We are. But you know what happens? When a player pops, he makes everybody looks good.
Say
You know
that
what I
again,
mean?
Queen. Say that again.
When a player pops, he makes everybody look good. And that's what happened with Brunson. I'm sure the Knicks thought he would be good. I don't know if they thought he would be this good. Maybe they
None
did.
of us, Queen.
He definitely exceeded my expectations.
And
I didn't think that.
Right. So he's accelerating our window, so to speak. Remember, prior to the season, what were we talking about? That we should tear this down and start going back to the lottery, focus on developing our young players, and forget about these vets who were only 26 or 27. But anyway, these vets, move off of them and start focusing on starting from scratch. Brunson came and he closed the door on all of that and open up our contending window.
And save some jobs in the process too.
And save some jobs in the process. And this is what I say about coaches. Coaching, to me, if you have a quality coach, your success or non-success is going to depend on your roster. You're not going to be able to consistently outcoach your roster. Look at Nate McMillan. 2 years ago to the Eastern Conference Finals, he the toast of the town. Right now, he's barely clinging to his job. That's how it is with coaching. You get a player in there like Brunson, you start winning some games. Oh, Tibbs looking much better now. You see that substitution he made?
Yeah. You say that, Queen. Think about it. Tibbs. Now, correct me if I'm getting it right. I'm getting my time right. But he won Coach of the Year with Alfred Payton running point.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that's not squeezing blood out of turnip, I don't know what is.
Right.
So now you not only you elevated to a whole nother degree, whole nother level on point guard, because last season we didn't have. I mean, we had Deuce, but he wasn't ready. He put Burks there at the point.
Right.
But now we got Brunson, and it's a whole nother thing. A lot of the songs, a lot of those sad songs we were singing is a whole different thing now. Harold Melvin went back with the Blue Notes, and it's a whole new thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. Listen, you have players. It makes the coaching job easy. The coach is never in them tight situations where one move makes such a big difference because you got players that cover all of that up with their shot making.
Yeah, and the coach is going to play who he trusts. A lot of us was clamoring, "Hey, why he ain't playing this guy? Why he ain't playing this guy?" If the coach don't trust you, you ain't playing. And it's evident. Look, soon as he got hurt, and for people that don't know the history about that, Tibbs,
he wanted him
when he was in Minnesota, wanted that guy, and almost got fired in Minnesota during the draft because he was beating the table trying to get Hart. So that thing goes back further with Tibbs and Hart. You know what I mean? For that man to come in here and snatch minutes, that lets you know that's a Tibbs guy, and that's who Tibbs. Same thing with Grimes. Grimes and Hart look like carbon copies. Hart just a little bit more seasoned than Grimes.
Yeah. He is. Shout out to Louisiana Knicks. We need to upgrade at the small forward position. RJ Barrett. Well, we're going to talk about RJ Barrett as well. Let me read this other super chat. Paris Doug, appreciate you. Man, a sleeper is Charlotte's Bridges availability. Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a tough one. I'm all for second chances though.
And
I
you can
am
get them
too.
on the cheap.
I am too.
And you may be able to get them on the cheap.
He'll have a contract with a lot of stipulations in it. But you can give him another shot.
And Dolan's all for second chances too.
Yeah, Sprewell got his second chance.
Sprewell,
and ran with it.
Yeah.
But let me ask a question though about Bridges. He's a power forward. Would we put him at small forward?
He can play the small forward. He can play the small forward.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he can play that.
Paris Duggar, we're a Kuzma or Jalen Brown away from a chip. And you know what? Brunson popping changes things because it changes what we need. If he doesn't pop and Randle don't pop, but they play fairly well, we need a star. Those two guys pop. Maybe a Jalen Brown, somebody on their level is all we need. So it does change things. Anything else about Brunson? Let me just read off his season stats: 23.9 points, 3.6 rebounds, 6.2 assists, almost a steal a game, shooting 48.5% from the field, 41% from three, and 83.8% from the free throw line. I mean,
and he's 6 foot. Supposedly, he's 6 foot, and he's doing all that. The little big man.
Yeah.
I want to just say that I called those numbers before the season. Minus
right
percentage.
Shout out to you, Tony.
Watch when I find the footage, because I also called 3 plays scoring 20 points a game. So hope RJ continues it and ends that way. But
I mean, he will if he continues to get 5,900 shots. He will. But one of the things I said was that Brunson was a budding star and that he opened up our championship window for sure. I said that weeks and weeks and weeks ago. Anyway, anything else about Brunson before we move on to RJ Barrett?
Yeah, Steph. And this actually coincide with Brunson, with what you're saying about the fact that Brunson sped up our timeline. And I think when you look at the moves, what they were trying to do around that trade deadline, it was because of the play of Brunson. The fact that the Knicks were trying to get OG, and at one point they were trying to get Grayson Allen. You saw what they were trying to do. They was trying to get somebody to solidify that third option, and it was trying to get a shooter to put around Brunson, because the Knicks still ain't no good 3-point shooting team. As a team, we're not a good 3-point shooting team.
Right.
We got 3 guys that can shoot the 3 good, and that's Randle, Brunson, and IQ. The rest of them guys is spotty at best.
Yeah. Because at times, Ron, some of those cats shooting that 3 can hit an elephant in the backside with an ironing board. We know that for a fact.
Well, Ron, we have improved. We have improved in the past month, because we was in the 20s. Right now, we are like about 17th in 3-point shooting. So we have improved on the 3. It might.
So we almost middle of the pack on 3.
It mightn't look like we're not shooting the 3, but we are shooting a lot of 3s, and we are making them. So we're right in the middle of the pack. At 17, we was in the 20s. When the season started. So we have a little improvement, increment on the 3s.
Yeah. I think we're shooting 34.5%, number 23 in the league right now. But I know you were saying over the past, how many games, Stafford?
Well, for Brunson?
No, for the team. You were saying over the past, we were 17?
For the 3-point improvement you're talking about.
No, we're 17 now, but earlier in the year we were in the 20s.
Oh, I see.
But and another thing, Randall's 3-point percentage has to have skyrocketed. Brunson's 3-point percentage as well has to have skyrocketed. Earlier in the season, both of them were on horrible stretches shooting the three.
Guys,
Yeah.
So
if I missed every game this season, I'm gonna know Julius Randle is a hell of a 3-point shooter because he gonna be in the All-Star
It's
3-point
all
shooter.
game, 3-point shooting. Yeah.
I hope
Shout
he
out,
win it too.
shout out to the
I
big
hope he
fella.
win it.
Yeah, I hope he pulls a big
Listen.
cat and pull off the W.
If he win it, his attempts is going up to 12.
His first 6 shots will be 3
Man,
per game.
He already coming down after this.
Hey, he may just pull up from Steph Curry. Hey, he pull up from Steph Curry range just because I won the championship.
Shout out to Randall, man.
he
Randall
checked from the logo.
Randall
man.
proved me right, man. Because
Coming
I
out the
didn't
locker
think he would
room
have a
gunning.
bounce back season, but I didn't think it would have been like this. He really exceeded my thoughts on him too. I knew he would have a bounce back season.
you know it's
Shout out
funny,
to-
Queen. Right after you had that show, you was like, oh, I don't want him to shoot no more threes all year. I swear he started shooting 8 a game. 8 a game. I was like, yo.
You're right, because early in the season I was like, yo, and then when I heard him in a post game saying, I'm trusting my work. I put in a lot of work. I said, oh, okay, yeah, he ain't gonna stop shooting those. All right, let's move to the next segment.
Queen, I'm sorry. Before you move,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. We have there are only 66 likes with 142 people watching. I mean, come on, people.
Oh,
Come
man,
on.
Yeah,
Hit that, hey,
Get
them
with the
likes.
program here, man.
look, for those that haven't worked out today, if you hit that like button, you're burning calories.
Yeah.
So, and if you miss your gym day, hit the like button. I promise you, you're gonna burn you a few hundred calories.
Yeah.
Just do that. It'll be easy.
Yeah,
All right?
it ain't costing you nothing, man. This is free. And
Mhm.
it's all about the team you love. It's about the Knicks.
Yeah.
You ain't
If-
getting this any players. You ain't
if-
going to no ESPN and Fox because
Uh-huh.
they
You
ain't
ain't gonna
talking
get
about
it.
us. And
Right.
if they do, it's a
If-
glance and blow.
If you
And I'm
stay
gonna tell
here
you-
watching this, that's because you enjoy it. If you enjoy
yeah.
it, man, hit the like button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and most
And-
importantly, it helps the Queen's channel.
Yeah, and then hey, for you
channel.
for you NBA 2K players, you Madden players, Call of Duty, it's strengthening your thumbs. Hit the button.
Right.
So figure you silly boy.
Yes, I appreciate that. All right, let's get to the next segment. What's up with RJ Barrett? Now, I this is what I'll say. I personally just think he's having a bad season, and I think he will rebound. I say next season. Jarrell, shout out to Jarrell, who had a death in the family, so he couldn't be with us tonight. Condolences to you, Jarrell, to you and your
Condolences,
family.
my dog, Jarrell.
Condolences, brother.
Yeah.
Condolences.
Yes, condolences.
But when I said I hope he rebounds next season, he said next season. What about next game? What about after the All-Star break? You know. But do you think RJ is just having a bad season, or do you think this is who? Do you think he's just having a bad season and he'll rebound at some point, whether that's this season or next season, or do you believe this is just who he is? Ajay?
Well, I think he's gonna. Yes, I think so. Because we know he can play. We've seen him play. Okay, he has a set of skills that he can accomplish a lot of things in the NBA. I'm not sure what's going on with him. If it's, and somebody mentioned, I think Soulfinger might have mentioned earlier on the show that bringing in Josh Hart could relieve some pressure off of him. I think the opposite could also be true. That could also put a lot of pressure on him. I hope that's not the case. Okay. Every year he rebounds after the All-Star break. I mean, this year, the All-Star break is kind of late. So let's just hope that he does, this week off, like do him some good. And then he comes back ready to hit the for the home stretch into the playoffs. But listen, he's in the NBA. He's talented. We know it. I mean, even with the bad games, he averages, what does he average? 18 or 19 points a game. So he's still getting it done. I know, Queen, you're gonna say he takes 40 shots to do it, but eventually with more people on the team scoring, he's probably gonna touch the ball less, and I feel like his efficiency is gonna go up, and that's all we need from him. We just need he could still score 20, but he just needs to be more efficient at it. The one thing that I have a problem with him, he doesn't pass the ball. Like, he would take on 5 defenders. If 5 people are defending you, that means there are 4 guys that are open. Get rid of the ball. He hasn't learned to do that yet, and he's done that like so many times. I throw things at the TV watching him do that. And then his defense, which for whatever reason has regressed in the past, like every year it goes down a little bit. Some people say that's because he gained weight. Maybe that's the case, and if that's the case, then he's probably not going to get over it this season, but maybe next season he'll probably be a better defender. But he definitely needs to work on his defense. But again, I don't want to say the regular, he's young or whatever. He's been in the league 4 years. I do feel that he's going to get better. He's going to get over it, and at least I hope so as a Knicks fan. So
now you're saying that you think that his efficiency will get better and he'll be able to score 20 points on less shots. I'm starting to think that I don't know so much about his efficiency. Like, I don't, and I've said this before, I see RJ's game as more multifaceted. I don't really see him as a 20-point scorer because I'm not sure how efficient he's going to be. And if he's not efficient and he's getting less shots, he's going to score less points, right? Because he needs the volume in order to score his.
Look at yesterday's game, right? He scored maybe 17 points, but he drove to the basket a lot. Okay, if he understand that sometimes when the three's not falling, you need to fall back. If he didn't take those 3-pointers, his percentage would have been much higher.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So sometimes you just got to fall back. Let the shot come to you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get closer to the basket. He's finishing better at the rim right now, so maybe he should do that a little more. Then he'll pull back and work on his threes more, and he'll get better at it.
And I'll get to you, Tony. He finished better at the basket last night. On the season, he's only finishing, I think last season he was 52% at the rim. This season, he's 54% at the rim. So in terms of his percentile, it might have went up from the 12th percentile to the 27th percentile. It's still not, it's still not great. But I see the recipe. I see the recipe. Finish at the basket, be at league average from 3-point line, 34%. Hit your free throws, play good defense. That's a recipe for being a really, really good NBA player. Yep. Tony?
Spot on. Before you hit your free throws, get to the free throw line. And right. RJ is very capable. I would have argued he's our best guy as far as drawing fouls. Randle has took a step forward this year in that department. So I think Randle's number one, but I think RJ is probably the second best guy at drawing fouls. I think what's your name, my man? My bad.
Who, me? Ajay?
Ajay?
Yeah.
I think you were spot on in the sense that last night is RJ's formula for him to be successful. Not saying don't take threes, just be sparing with them, right? Until you get your rhythm back, until you start getting and I'm not saying turn down threes because you got to shoot them if you're open, if they leave you open, whatever the case. But his bread and butter is attacking the rim, and he needs to. That's the way I think he can get to 20 points a game. Number one, I feel like he should get maybe 6 to 8 free throws a game if he's attacking the rim the way he should. Now if he's making them, you know what I mean, that's 6 to 8 points right there, and then focus on finishing what it looks like he did last night. not worrying about drawing contact. You're gonna get fouled a lot, but focus on finishing. Focus on hitting the rim on your layups, where we can get an offensive rebound if you don't finish. But as far as just concern for RJ, it's I'm not as concerned because I feel like number one, Brunson the way he's playing, Randall the way he's playing, addition of Josh Hart, quickly the way he's playing. I feel like it releases some of that pressure. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna use his age as an example, but we got Randall over here at 24, 25 years old. Is Randall the same player from the first year we got him when he wasn't even our lead guy until Mook got traded? You know what I mean? Like we've witnessed the growth of Randall from 24, 25 to 27, 28, whatever he is now. You know what I mean? So I feel like RJ has a lot of growth to reach and he will.
But does he have to score 20 points? Because I see you was figuring out how he can get 20. Does he have to get 20 points to be an effective player on this team?
Well, I don't think it has to be 20 with the addition of Hart. You know what I mean? We're quickly playing the way he's playing. Randall obviously playing the way he's playing. Brunson. No, I feel like we don't need it. But I feel like he's capable. he's more than capable of giving us 20 a night. Like
I just don't see it on his efficient. To me, RJ Barrett's going to average 12 to 15 points a game because at some point his usage is going to correct itself. He's getting a lot of usage, too much usage for how inefficient he is. And at some point that's going to correct itself where his usage is going to go down. And when his usage goes down and then you're not efficient, you're not getting those shots. You're not getting 20 shots now. Not getting 16, 17 shots. So if you're not efficient, you're going to score like 12 points a game, shooting 42% off of 14 shots. Yes, Tony.
I agreed. If his shots dip a lot, like for the remainder of the year, he'll probably his numbers will go down. I'm just saying, like moving forward. For example, or let me put it in a question. Hypothetically, if RJ was full-time second unit, do you think he would be capable of still scoring 20 points a game?
No,
not because he's not going to get up that many shots. The reason he's scoring what he's scoring is because he's putting up 16, 17, 18, 19. Sometimes he shoots more than Randall and Brunson, but because he's inefficient, he doesn't score as much as them. But you look at the box score, he took more shots than they did.
Yep.
Yeah.
So because he's taking those many shots, yes, he will average 18, 19, 20.
But when his shots will go down if he's
he's not on the second unit by himself. He's on the second unit with Quickly. He's on the second unit with Josh Hart. He's on the second unit with Hartenstein, who puts up.
I agree. I know, but the same thing is in reverse with Randall, with Brunson. You know what I mean? So I mean, I just feel like I don't think his shot attempts would go down in the second unit. Actually, I feel like the majority of his shots come when he plays with the second unit. Like that's his go time. You know what I mean? Like that's his time. And I think with that's where he's getting most of his shots from.
But I think his shots need to come down.
He's
inefficient. I don't think he needs to be taking 18, 19, 20 shots a game when you're shooting 40%. Like I think his shots need to come down.
What would you think about shot selection? Because he shoots a lot of threes, and he was 0 for 7 last night from the 3-point line.
0 for 6.
He started 0 for 6. Okay, 0 for 6 from 3-point line. But then when he's slashing and going to the rack is better, and then shooting more mid-range shots. And I get it. For those who play, you say, hey, to get out of shooting slump, you got to shoot, right? So I know he's been on an extended slump at times with his shooting because it's hot. He's hot or cold. And like I said earlier, it's sometimes RJ has me swinging at the air like Trey. It can be real frustrating. But in the addition for Hart, I'm hoping that it'll take some pressure off because I think he could be. It's a couple of things I think could be happening. It's just me and with my 10-4 hat on. Over the summer when they were trying to make that trade to get Donovan Mitchell, maybe that's still stinging and he's trying to press to show that he's worth staying on the team. And you can't tell me he's not, he's hearing that, you were the third pick overall pick and you're not playing to the way you should be playing. So he's trying to put this pressure on himself to play that way.
If that's still bothering him, he needs to be gone.
And then the other thing too, Ron, is now, like I said, the contract. We don't know what all is in that contract. I know he has some incentives to get in there. You got to hold and maintain certain things. So if that's the fact about it, now you're playing, you're kind of playing, but you're playing selfish ball for one. So and it's working against it. But then like you said, his inefficiency. He takes, he doesn't pass. If he was able to pass the ball more, affect the game other ways, and not just worry about focus on his scoring, I think that'll help a lot. I don't think it would help a lot, but it's one thing I was looking at, and like I said, two things I said, because one thing I said before I put on the show, and everybody was like ready to come for me with pitchforks, torches, and everything, and roll grenades and all like that, and rappel over to the side of the building. Yeah, RJ was the third pick, and my comparison is this, and I'm not comparing him to Giannis. I'm just comparing him to the situation of Giannis, how long it took Giannis to become Giannis, the Greek freak, because they waited 6 years for him to pop. Now, granted, I know everybody's like, he's been in the league 4 years and he hasn't done this. I give him a little grace because of the situation, because he's been a starter from day one, from jump. And you look at the coaches he went through, man, he has stability with Tibbs, and he's been doing what he's doing, but his game is erratic. It's like a wet kitten at times. So we're giving him time, but I won't be surprised if we do make a move over the summer that RJ would be put in a package and moved up out of here for something to increase. That's one thing I'm looking at. And the other thing is, again, trade deadline, his name probably came up again in something. So it's still affecting him in that terms. So being a young cat like he is, and I hate, I don't like going that way. It's an excuse for because it's not an excuse. I want to use it the way some folks saying he's only 22. Man, you've been playing in the league. You've been playing ball all your life, and you've been in the league long enough that you got to get it together, son. But it could be all here because remember, even though Randle had a bad season for him, the way he behaved, he still produced. RJ has regressed in a lot of ways. His defense has been slow. Case in point, last night I noticed when who was it that was Precious? No, DeAndre Hunter shot down the court and he's loafing down the court. Little things like that. He had those mental lapses. Not to jump on RJ, but
right.
I think RJ a lot of his problem is here, more mental than the whole physical. I think that's what a lot of his problem is.
I would agree with that. I just want to say this before I let Wiz in. You wonder, if he came in thinking he would have a bigger role this season, and his role is less, at least from optics. It's Randle and Brunson. But when you look at usage, his usage has only dropped off to about 2 percentage points, from like 26% to like 24 point something percent. He's still getting a lot of usage on this team. He's still taking a lot of shots on this team. So I don't know, to your point, Soulfinger, does he feel a way because he's not featured? Does he feel a way that the fans are on him now? At least on Twitter, they not booing him in the Garden like they was booing
Randle,
yeah.
Randle. Him not closing some games, is he just getting a sense that, and to your point too, he was in the trade, Donovan Mitchell trade. He might have been in the Levine trade when they were talking about Levine. I agree because there's something off, not just his game, but there's just something is off.
I think it's here. I really, Queen and Panel, and I think it's a lot going on up here that he needs. He may need to talk to Randle about getting his going through and getting some meditation going on and have that coach in his ear telling him whatever he's saying. He got to do something.
Yeah, and as far as his game is concerned, Right now, his game is limited. Going to the rim, 3-point
left.
shots. Now,
Mhm.
he can get in the post a little bit with a little turnaround push shot in the lane. I'm seeing, a little bit more of that. You know, like the pull up, like setting his guy up off the dribble. I always get nervous when he's dribbling, trying to set somebody up to take a shot off the dribble, but he does that a little bit. But for the most part, it's the catch and shoot three
Mhm.
and driving to the rim. That's
Mhm.
his bread and butter. But that's been his bread and butter for 4 years. So
Yeah.
this is
Long
what
time.
makes me
Long
feel
time.
a little less hopeful is those two aspects of your game have been your bread and butter for the 4 seasons you've been in the NBA, and I haven't seen much improvement in those areas. Forget adding something else to your game. You can improve by just getting better at what you do,
Mhm.
frequently. That's another way of getting better. And I haven't seen much improvement
And
there. I
Steph,
haven't seen much improvement in terms of adding to his game as well in year 4. So that's what's giving me a little pause.
I tell you, Steph, for me with RJ, the 4 years we watched him, and you kind of, went exactly where I was headed.
Mhm.
RJ, I believe, and I said this in the summertime, RJ is at his ceiling. I don't see where RJ is going to improve any more than what he is. He relies strictly on trying to bully people. When he can't bully people, he has a hard time. He doesn't have really a mid-range game to talk about. And now the 3-point shot has left him. I don't know how many threes in the last 50 that he's made. And the defense is nowhere near year 1 defense. RJ is constantly, when you look, he's in trail mode on defense. He's constantly going under the screen. These are the things that I'm seeing. And what dawned on me with RJ is the fact that now that Julius Randle and Brunson is your obvious number 2, I think that's his biggest problem. RJ has to be at least a number 2 to be effective for everything that you said. He's inefficient. He has to take a lot of shots to make his points. When the guy scores 20 points, he takes like 17 shots. That's not efficient. And then the thing is, when we think about it, when this goes back to, talking about that third option, on a championship team, that third option is normally somebody who's efficient. Kyle Korver, Chris Bosh, Ray Allen. Normally your third option is people who can shoot, not people who need a ton of shots to get points. So that's the problem with RJ, and I truly believe RJ is going to be gone this summer. I really do believe it, because the Knicks are not going to wait on RJ. Julius Randle is 27 years old, 28.
26.
Brunson is what?
26 or
Julius is
27.
26. Huh? He's 27.
Yeah, I think
Might be
27.
Yeah,
27.
he's 27, so he'll be 28 next year. And you got Brunson, who's about 25, 26. We can't. They're not going to wait on RJ, and everything at that trade deadline. All the trade talks they were talking, let you know the fact that they were trying to bring Levine in there. If Levine come in here, you think the Knicks waiting on RJ? That tell you right there they weren't
No.
waiting on him. So his time is the clock, and you said it perfectly at the outset of this thing, Queen. Brunson has sped up the timeline.
Yeah.
The timeline is, and that's a good thing for us as Knicks fans. It's a bad thing for RJ. But he's a good player, but he got to diversify his game. When the worst place in sports to be is when everybody know your game. And now you got guys offensively, they're searching out RJ on defense to punish him. And now he getting silly fouls. RJ getting silly fouls now. It's his game is looking bad, and it's to the point now that he's becoming unplayable in the fourth quarter, where Tibbs is putting him down on the bench.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
Queen,
Before I get to the chat, Stafford. Yeah.
so Queen, you remember that question where you asked the first time if we have 2 stars, what we need? And I told you that I need to see where this team goes before I could say what we need. And there you go right there. RJ Barrett, I think, is the X factor. because if he can't produce, I don't think this team can go anywhere.
Great point.
And so everybody made great points about RJ Barrett. But my thing is that, to me, I think he's forcing it a lot. Because when he drives to the basket and you got people, like a lot of people, he doesn't like to pass the ball getting swiped away badly. And I think he needs to go back to the fundamentals. Just take a look at what Josh Hart is doing. He is hustling, he's getting steals, he's rebounding, he's letting the game come to him. And I don't think RJ is letting the game come to him. I think he's forcing up a lot of shots. A lot of even though he has a lot of open shots, like 3-point shots, and he's a lot of air ball, I still think he's forcing it too much to the basket. And he just needs to let the game come to him. Now, with that being said, if RJ could get it together, like what Ron said, get a consistent jump shot, I think he'll be in this league for a long time. But for right now, and what Soulfinger said, he needs to get it together. And nobody is going to wait on him, as like what Ron said. Nobody's going to wait on him. So the clock is ticking on RJ. And if we get to the playoffs and he cannot produce in that spot that we need him to, I'm not guaranteeing it. I don't know, but we might have to look at an off-season trade to get somebody to improve this team at that position, because RJ is not doing what he's supposed to do at this time in the season. So that's what I said earlier before. I have to see what this team does in order for me to say we need another person. But RJ is the X factor. And if he can't produce as that third option, I don't know. It maybe be a lost cause.
I mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say his 2-point percentage is actually not that bad. It's 48%. So I think honestly it's probably shot selection and just not focusing on only taking that three when you open. You know what I mean? When the defense is forcing you to take that three.
Yeah, I think he's
Tony,
personally.
His shot selection, it's more like you got to know your shot, know what you're good at. Because a lot of those threes, he's wide open, and they're coming up air ball.
And then the kind you're supposed to make.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how bad the shots are. He's open when he's
what I'm saying is
it's not the selection. You got to know what you're good at.
What I agree, but what I'm saying is his 2-point percentage is 48%.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Like,
but you know what? That's
he needs to shoot more
too.
But 48%
of that mid range.
But you know, his 2-point shot is kind of misleading because his twos are basically layups. They're not actual jump shots.
And no, you should be finishing higher than 48%.
He missed a lot of jump shots too.
Ron, that's not true. He's got that little floater that he's got.
Yeah, but I'm talking jump shot. That floater ain't a jump shot. I don't consider that a jump shot. That's more like a layup. He's close to the basket with that little floater, you know. But his main thing is he's trying to bully people, and he got the little floater, but he don't have a mid-range jump shot. Last night was the first time I actually can recall him really taking a jump shot that he made mid-range, and it was a reverse. It looked like it was a reverse pivot on the weak side. And he made the shot, and my eyes got big. I was like, "Whoa, that's new."
Yeah.
Look, and I think he surprised himself too.
I'm looking at the stats right now. 3-point attempts. Randle's 8 per game. Barrett second, 5.5. There you go, right there. If you bring that number down or raise that percentage, I think things change.
Let me
through on the team in 3-point attempts.
Let me share this real quick, and then I'm gonna get to Wiz. It's my first time doing this, so I hope I'm doing it right. Okay, this is kind of hard to see, but basically, oh no, sorry. Let me open it up. All right. So basically, this is showing how RJ is shooting at the rim, in the short mid-range, and the long mid-range, all mid-range, corner threes, non-corner threes, all threes. What his percentage is each year. Blue is not too good. Throughout his entire career, from every area on the court, he's basically blue. Last year he did, okay in the non-corner threes. He shot 36%. Last year, all threes, he shot 35%. Right? Now, this is comparing to people in his position, and that plays his position. This year, he's shooting 58% at the rim, 38% in the short mid-range, 23% in the long mid-range.
Yeah, he don't have to make jump shots.
36% all mid-ranges, 33% from the corner three, 33% from the non-corner three, and 33% from all threes. And the number that's in the box is where he stacks up against others in his position. So at the rim, he's in the 33rd percentile, which means 77% of players at his position shoot better than he does at the rim. 32% for all mid-ranges. That means 68% of players. Did I get that 33? 33, I think. No, that's 67%. Excuse me. All mid-range, 68% of players at his position shoots better than him in the mid-range. And he's 21 percentile, which means 79% of players at his position shoots better from the three-point line.
Translation, he don't have a mid-range jump shot.
And this is for his entire career. It's all blue, except for the corner threes. So what I'm trying to say is the money comes into effect. You're paying $107 million, and I know, Tony, which is much less than we all thought he was going to get. But you can argue that you can get somebody much cheaper to do this. So this is what I'm trying to say when I say there hasn't been much improvement in his shooting from these areas throughout his entire career. And I hope it does change.
Yeah, 5'6". If man, can you imagine, to Stafford's point, him and Grimes are like wild cards to this point, because everything them guys do would be gravy, because you know what Brunson and Julius going to give us. Them guys together going to give us about at least 50 points a night.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
right.
if them other two guys can come along and do what they need to do, the Knicks can guarantee to get out of the first round of the playoffs.
Well,
right.
you know, a lot.
I want to give Wiz an opportunity to speak, but to Corey Lee, we are Knicks fans. But are you saying that because we're Knicks fans, we can't criticize a player who hasn't been playing well? So we have to sit on the panel with our pom-poms on and talk about how great a player is when he's not playing great. Now,
I ain't gonna do that.
I don't understand that logic. Like,
in all fairness, I'm saying that I think he will rebound, next season, and maybe hopefully he'll rebound even after the All-Star break. But I don't think you're dogging him when you're just pointing out, what his stats are and how he's playing this season. He has not been playing. He has not been playing well. Wiz, did you want to say it?
First, acknowledge the superstar panel here. I'm like, just awesome to be around you guys. Queen, you're always right, and even when you're wrong, your logic is correct, except for your A+ for Tibbs. I'm never gonna forget that, Dick. I'm gonna call you that later on because.
Watch it, Devil Dog. Watch it, Devil Dog.
But before let's get that off first. Get out of the way first, Queen. You and me, because I want to keep on saying you're always right. Right now, at the 3/4 mark, I'm giving Tibbs an A-.
Oh boy! Please, somebody write that down. Please, somebody write that down somewhere.
But you gave Tibbs an A+ at the halfway mark, and he's improved so by over a grade for me. So I mean that A+. Go ahead.
How is he improved? At that time, we were 6th in the Eastern Conference, just the way we are now. We had the top 10 offense and the top 10 defense, right? He was dealing with injuries to RJ Barrett. Brunson, Obi Toppin, our Mitchell, Mitchell Robinson. Now, but he didn't get an A+ because he wasn't playing who y'all wanted him to play. He wasn't putting in the substitutions y'all thought he should put in. Now we're back in 6th place and our offense is still good, but our defense has plummeted now. But now he gets an A- because he's doing the things y'all wanted to see him do. That's all it's about.
That's not the reason. No, Queen. That's not what it is. I'm telling you, he's making coaching decisions and moves that be totally objective. These are, because just even one perfect example was substitution, late game substitution, where people were perfectly exhausted. We're winning by 20, and he keeps guys in the game. I mean, things like that where he's bringing guys in earlier, or the fact that he actually fouled guys when you're up by 3 or more points with seconds left, and you tell your guys
but
foul
that's a
them.
philosophy thing. That's the point I'm trying to make. You're giving him an A+ because he is coaching according to your philosophy, and now an A-. So now you agree with what he's doing because he's doing what you want him to do. So now he gets an A-. But that's his philosophy. Some people have a philosophy of not fouling. He's allowed to have his philosophy.
Well, he flipped it because first one game he didn't do it, the next game he did it. But I'm just saying the basis of not necessarily a record, because you can actually improve personally and fall behind someone else who's excelled. So if I was racing Usain Bolt, if I gain a 10th of a second on my 100-meter dash, I'm still going to lose to him because he's faster. So because we're 6th place and our record is a little bit worse and our defense is a little worse, because the other teams got healthier and better, may not reflect accurately whether I've actually improved or lost my skill set. I think coach improved, but the other teams improved a little faster in some cases, or some caught us in certain situations. But nonetheless, let's get it out of the way. Let's get to RJ real quick. I want to challenge a little bit the statement about if RJ being an X factor, if he doesn't excel, we're doomed. I'm saying that's incorrect. I'm saying RJ can take us to another level, but if RJ doesn't excel and Tibbs properly treats the way he's playing, then he can bring him out of the game and put in Josh, put in IQ, whatever, rotated positions where we will still excel without RJ excelling. I think we could do even better with RJ. So I'm not going to say we're going to be doomed without RJ excelling. I'm saying we could excel even more. So he could take us to another level, but I don't think he's going to affect us if Tibbs watches the game closely and go, like he did one couple games, 5 minutes in, get out, RJ, sit down, come back a little bit later. Now, my issue with RJ is not that he's actually doing terrible. The issue is that, like I criticized Randle earlier in the year, Randle starts off doing 3-pointers every game, right? He's doing 3-pointers because he's been working on it all summer, all that stuff, right? Randle, when he was hitting the 3-pointers early in the game, I'm like, don't stop shooting. Ron, you said it the other night, right? Where when he goes over 4, I'm saying, stop shooting, drive, get the mid-range, RJ does not do that. He's not making an adjustment. Randle has made an adjustment, and now Randle's in a perfect scenario where he was over 4 the other night. He didn't take another 3-pointer, and he's a 70 to 80% sometimes inside player on the 2-pointer, and he still puts up 20+ points because he stopped shooting a 3. And RJ will not address his game when he's either missing the 3 or he's getting blocked on the inside. He makes no adjustments. And it's tunnel vision because of bad habits. I think it's mostly bad habits why he does not think passing that ball when he's about to get blocked or double teamed. I think it's not just ego. It's not just trying to fulfill a contract. We just try to analyze all the reasons why. But part of it is just some bad habits. He's just been do that all his life and been excelling, succeeding with it. And he figures, I'm going to keep doing that. It's worked before. But when you run into a guy team's going to stop you, he didn't change. But you see Brunson, 20 games in or 25 games in, he started getting long players on him, long defenders. We started going, they caught Brunson, and now they know the formula to stop him. 10 games later, he's unstoppable. RJ doesn't have that ability right now. He's got to be able to demonstrate ability.
Right.
I'm gonna
But you
give
gotta
him the
have
age
this, you
issue.
gotta have a skill set that he doesn't have right now. Let me get to the chat though.
True. Yes. Go ahead.
I missed the super chat and I'm clicking on it and it's not coming up.
Ricardo. You want me to read it for you, Ricardo, right?
No. I
$10.
can read it. I can read it, but I wanna oh there it is.
I'll pop it up.
There.
Okay.
Yeah. Ricardo, Queen, this guy isn't showing no improvement in any part of his game. I've never see a player miss so much wide open threes. It's like he's shooting outside in a windstorm. We've arrived and he might slow us. But I will say, you know, to Tony's point and Wiz's point, we have other players now, so we're not so dependent on him. You know, you could put Josh Hart in there. Quickly is playing better. I'm not sure Grimes is kind of up and down, you know.
Yeah.
On the offensive end. But I just want to shout out to chat a little bit. Greg, it's so bad now that all the teams we play leave RJ open all the time because they know how well. That's not the one I wanted to read. He had another one. This is not true.
The worst signing?
Brunson, Mitch, and wanted Randle traded. Now RJ traded RJ. No, I always wanted Brunson. 2 years ago, when he was coming up on free agency, I said this is who the Knicks should get. I never wanted Randle traded. I said I want to see Randle here for another year with a point guard. We can't give up on talent. So, and I'm not even saying that I want RJ traded. I'm just pointing out that he's not playing well. So listen, guys, y'all gonna keep receipts. Keep the right ones now. All right.
Yeah. I don't think anybody on this panel said they want RJ traded.
Well, somebody just said we need to look into it if he doesn't improve.
Hey, I'll tell you like this for me. I'm gonna tell you like this for me. At that trade deadline, I was disappointed he didn't get traded because I can look at it and see that he's the weak link on this roster, in that lineup. That's holding.
But do you think he won't? So let me ask you this, Ron. And this was the original question. Is he having a poor season that he can rebound from? Or do you think that this is RJ Barrett?
Just like I said in the offseason, this is who he is. I realize this is his ceiling. And normally, and you know, people say, well, we can look at the fact that he was drafted 3rd overall. Yes, we can. When you're drafted as a 3rd overall pick, you are a franchise player, period. And the fact that this the thing, and we've all talked about it. The fact that you got Brunson in here now with Julius Randle, you're not even having to guard the number one guy on the opposite team on defense. We got Grimes to do that. Now we got Hart in here. You don't even have to take those kind of assignments. Your life is the easiest of anybody in that starting line. And you struggling the way you struggling, and I got to look at the fact, Queen, and we all seen it. The guy has not changed his game since year 1. The only thing he's gotten better at was the free throws, and you supposed to make those. But he don't have no game to talk about other than trying to bullet somebody to the floor. And it's against some small guys. When he's dealing with length, he got a problem. He don't have a mid-range jump shot, and the three-point shot has left him. And I see more air. Look like he's selling oxygen. Man, it's a problem for me. And I can't. And if I'm in that front office, and this is the thing, looking at what the front office has done is just letting me know that they ain't on board. And I'm gonna remind everybody, July 23rd, that poison pill is up on that contract. There's no poison pill after July the 23rd. So for all the people saying we can't trade him this year, that's bogus. So yeah, I wouldn't lose no sleep if we traded RJ.
Wow. Anybody else think that he's just having a bad season, or you also, Tony?
No, I think he's gonna be fine, and I agree. His job has gotten easier. You know what I mean? Like with the additions and the play of Randle and Brunson. So I think he'll be fine, man. He's shown improved time after time, even with bad starts. he'll turn it around. I'm not saying it's a bad start at this point because we towards the end of the season, but you know what I mean. My and you call me optimistic, but I feel like number one in the playoffs, he's gonna have a better playoff performance than his first time around, and my hope is, you know what I mean, like he just starts to hit stride after this All-Star break and just lets it continue into the postseason. But this is probably the least pressure that he's had, and I'm talking about on the floor, on the court. I'm not talking about, you know, people talk about, oh, he just signed a contract and that pressure and things of that nature. But on the court, this has been the least pressure he's had. So I think he'll be all right.
I mean, you say less pressure, but I don't. He makes it look like he got pressure on him, and when you say he got less pressure, because if that's the case, and you running on the second unit, you're supposed to be more efficient than in the first unit because you got Brunson and Randle carrying you. So I don't see how it's how you say Tony is less pressure on him, and he's not improving.
And he's struggling in
As
the
I said,
second unit.
as I said it before, he is the X factor, and you know I'm with man on this one. He doesn't improve from after the All-Star break into the playoffs. I would not lose no sleep if the front office decides to move him. I'm not saying I'm giving up on the young man. You understand what I'm saying? And to Soul Finger's point, okay, Giannis, they took 6 years, but I don't think that this front office is going to wait 6 years on RJ Barrett. I really don't think so. So he has to get it together. He has to get it together. You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but I mean, from the time he came into the league, we crowned him as a golden child, and he was going to take the franchise to a different level.
Mm-hmm.
We have seen little increments of improvement, but we haven't seen where we want him to go in year 4. So as I said, Tony, I'm not pushing back on anything, but after this All-Star break and we go into the playoffs and he doesn't improve and we trade him, I can't feel sorry for him because he didn't improve his game, and you know we trying to get to that level.
Right. I just want to shout out Shaw Legacy because he's making a good point in terms of why RJ takes the shots that he takes. The team needs him to take those threes, though. That's a requirement for his roster in his position. And that's what Tibbs says. If you're open, you have to take the shot. It just keeps the offense moving. Even if you're missing, you need to take those shots. And I get it. It stalls the offense when you have guys, you know, passing up shots a lot. It does stall the offense. But let me tell you something. He missed a 3. Josh Hart got the rebound, hit it right back to him. He shot an air ball. The next time down, the ball went to the wing. And he was in the corner like this, like he just hit his last. This is a confident young man right here.
Hey, Queen, can somebody look up and tell me in the last 60, at least 50, 63s that he's taken, how many has he made? I'm interested to know. I'm really interested to know in the last 50 or 60 how many he made. Somebody in that chat, please look that up.
Wiz says Queen is always right, but Queen, you're wrong for this. You're wrong.
He's confident. You know, he's confident. Our communities, our children, he's shooting 33% from 3. If he was shooting 38% from 3, that would be
better. Yeah,
we would be having this conversation.
Okay, let's
see.
Let's play the narrative. It's Tibbs making him say, "You open, shoot." That's fine. Okay, let's say that's happening. The issue becomes, however, with RJ is that it's drive to the basket and not come up for the mid-range or passing the ball. That's the flaw in his game on offensive right now. Let him miss those 6 wide open threes he did the other game. But don't let the other part of the game suffer because you have no more dimension other than driving to the rim, double team, triple team, or whoever's there. So that's my problem with RJ. Pass the ball, pull up for the mid range, circle back, whatever it is, but don't get blocked every single game, 2 times a game, and don't miss an easy layup. And why don't he go for, obviously he can elevate a little bit. Why doesn't he go for the dunk every time? Because when he does that, freak of nature. I mean, we all get shocked when he does it, but he has the ability to do it. At least go for the dunk, so when you get fouled, you don't look around and be like, hey, I got fouled. They will call it a foul on a dunk attempt. Even LeBron got fouled with a layup attempt, and they didn't call it. So all they got to recognize, you like getting calls on the layup attempts, stop looking for the foul when you drive, and pass the ball or go for the rim hard. Like if you're I think you grew up in New York City street ball, West 40 or Rucker, you got to go for the dunk. No blood, no foul. It should be your mentality. That's what I'm saying with RJ.
A lack of
All right.
self-awareness.
Anything else on RJ Barrett before we move to the next segment?
Just one little thing, Queen.
I dropped a little super chat for you. That's what
You
you
did?
know.
All right.
Yeah, there's a little one in there.
Thank you for recognizing my condition and reminding me that there's a super chat in here. Let me find it.
It might have been 109. We broke 100 likes, but 194 is up there. So let's go to 150.
The Queen is always
150.
right,
Let's
except
go.
Tibbs 8+ grade.
I gotta keep going with that. Sorry. I gotta keep going.
I just want to say one thing regarding RJ, and this in regards. You remember Roberson that was with the with OKC?
Yes.
Remember he was a 2 guard,
Mm-hmm.
and
More
he was known for
defender than shot maker, if I'm correct.
But he couldn't find a goal. He couldn't find a rim with GPS, laser scopes, and a CNI dog. And I say that, I bring that up because of when RJ shoots, mainly because he sits in, and that's Tib said that's part of the offense. You got to take the shot, and we've seen him. He went 0 for 6 last night. In a lot of ways, RJ makes himself self-check at times. Because you notice they let him. RJ shooting, bag off. I think he needs to see after this season. I'm hoping that he works on stuff in the off season and clears his head. Because I really think it's more of a mental thing with him, more so than physical. Your physical can only go so far. You get blessed to be able to do what you can do. If RJ and he needs to, if he's trying to live up to all the status and his hype, because remember that he's the Maple Mamba and all this. If you Maple Mamba, you got Mamba in your name, everybody want to say you the next Kobe and all like that. So he's got that on him. He's coming out of Canada. He's going to do this, that, and the third. The expectations were way too high on RJ, for one. And then he got drafted at that third. And then, like you said, that's a franchise player. That's a franchise spot. The golden child. I saw somebody put in the chat, he must have ate the oatmeal. Something. But he's got to get out his head. If he works on his game over the summer, and I suggest, I'm hoping that he works out with Brunson, work on his footwork, because your footwork can separate you. Your footwork, your handle can take you so many more places. If not that, go down with Akeem. Akeem has a camp and does things like that. He's got to improve himself. And the other thing is to get out his head. But I did say earlier, if they make a move in the offseason, I wouldn't be surprised if he's in a package to bring somebody else. It just depends on who they're bringing in to that spot. Because, you got like Jalen, the one person I've been looking at is Jalen Brown, that whole Boston situation. Because, they tried to move this cat not once, but twice. And he's going to become a free agent. So, he may be in his feelings and feel some kind of way about that. So, but am I worried about RJ? I'm hoping that after the All-Star break, he turns it on like he's done in the past. It's just after 4 years, the slow start, it's past old, man. It's time to get it together, brother.
Yeah, that record scratch.
You wanted to say something quickly, Stafford, before we move to the next segment?
Yeah, to the young man named Christian. Let me tell you something, bro. Everybody is this team here is what's the word I'm looking for? Nobody's untouchable. That's what I'm trying to say. So if we need to move RJ in the off season to make this team better, that's just what it is. That's what because you say I don't make no sense if we trade him. We are trading him to get better. So nobody's untouchable. So sometimes you can't attach to yourself to these players because any day, any given time, these players can be traded and they go to a next team. So, I mean, you mightn't like it. You might like what I say because we have different opinions, but nobody's untouchable on this team. And if we need to move RJ to get a better player to improve this team to get where we need to go, that's just what it is, bro. And that's what I got to say.
I think it's fair to say Jalen Brunson's untouchable.
Yeah, but Stafford said exactly.
I mean,
what
it's
my
gonna
phrase
be
I like
very
to use, man.
Reasonably
I like to use a particular phrase.
Reasonably, yes.
I said I always say, don't get attached to players, man. Get attached to progress. And if a player's in the way of progress, you got to detach yourself from them because you best believe the front office is going to detach themselves from them.
Yeah. And if you can get you a better player, you're gonna hit him with the Dame Dollar to buy to get a better player.
Salute to Corey Lee. I never questioned anybody. RJ wanted to be a Knick when it wasn't cool to be a Knick and one. Okay.
Facts. Okay.
Cody, RJ's game is based on strength, not speed, but he's no Giannis. Sherwin, what RJ need to work on over the summer is his footwork and shot deception. You can work on those things in the summer. And our community, our children, the same impatience that will prevent a Giannis from being a Knick is the same thing that will prevent the Knicks from winning a championship. Patience with player development. But this is the thing, and we talk about this, at least on this channel. Player development is like stocks. Every player is not going to develop into a good player.
Absolutely
Every player, you could pour the same effort and development into two different players, and one can go on to be a star, and the next one can level out. There's no way to kind of know. You kind of making educated guesses based on watching them in games, watching them in practice, running the stats. But none of us know with certainty if a player is going to be a star or even if they're on a good trajectory, whether or not they're going to level off. So when it comes to RJ Barrett and any of our young guys, this is why the front office gets paid the big bucks. You're not a good front office if you sit there and wait and 8 years down the line be like, oh yeah, he wasn't good. Nah. That's not your job. Your job is to project and get off of players that you don't think are going to be good, but you're always playing the percentages. So there's a risk that you'll get off somebody and they'll pop. But there's also a risk that you'll hold too long and miss out on other opportunities that you could have had because you're holding on to a player hoping that they become something. So it goes both ways.
Yeah.
That's a great analogy as far as stock, because like you said, you could dump it, you know what I mean, and somebody get it for the cheap. Right. And then it skyrocket, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Or
held on to that.
And every stock doesn't grow at the same pace.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? One stock might double its worth in a year, and another one might quadruple its worth in 10 years. Or
how many times have you held on to a stock that was at, I don't know, $4,000, and then 2 years down the line, you sitting on $125 stock that you should have sold off 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's not a lot of guilty in the league, and there's not a lot of Kyle Lowry's situation in this league. And I saw a shout out to Ron, still Knicks fan. He put up a stat. He said RJ in his last 59 3-point attempts made 17.
Wow, that's not good.
See,
I will say to our
communities,
our children, the Spurs have 5 championships, not because they have patience. The Spurs have 5 championships because they drafted David Robinson. They drafted Tim Duncan. They drafted Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker. This is why they have Tim Duncan and David Robinson from the giddy up. You knew those guys were stars.
You got that right.
My grandmother would say. You knew those guys was going to be stars. So it wasn't like patience, like, oh, we're going to have patience with Tim Duncan. You knew Tim Duncan was the man. You knew David Robinson was the man. So that wasn't about patience. We're taking talent that if you were to project listen, I don't believe, I'm not putting my money on RJ becoming a star. So let's stop with that. If we just have patience with him, he's gonna become a star. At some point, if you're in the front office, you gotta make a decision. What do you
Exactly.
think?
Look at Frank.
You
Look at
hold
Frank
on
and
to
Knox.
everybody.
You know, real quick, I just want to throw this. You know, when I think about it, sometimes, and I probably get excoriated and eviscerated when I say this. At times, I look at RJ like Shane Battier. Remember all the hype when Shane Battier was supposed to take over the NBA, how people hyped him up and everything.
Mhm.
But then he found his niche and he was a role player. There's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is because we drafted him so high, you want him to be that way. Because I looked at it. RJ wasn't, you got, he came out, it was RJ, Cam, and Zion. And those three had a lot of hype. But, a lot of people a lot of it was how they played. But then in the tournament, it got exposed. RJ couldn't hit free throws. He still had a problem with his free throws gotten a little better, but he still has a problem with free throws. And it's not down, and this is not dump on RJ. We're just looking at what it is. Queen put up stats. Hey, those numbers don't lie. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. That's what I was told. Like I said. So, I mean, it's a lot that he needs to work on. And again, I'm just hoping that he takes the time and he works and trains. I think he needs to train with Brunson, And I
His
think
footwork.
that can elevate.
Footwork.
Yeah, his footwork. If
Ain't
he
gonna see
elevates,
DeRozan. Ain't nothing wrong with recognizing your limitations, man.
yeah,
You see DeRozan
DeRozan
don't shoot a bunch of threes,
He's
but
a
he'll
mid-range
destroy
assassin.
you in the mid-range.
Exactly. All you young people don't realize it was who was a super high school player before LeBron? Sports Illustrated cover. Felipe Lopez.
Yeah.
You young kids don't
Right.
remember that kid, right?
How that work?
happened
Felipe
to
Lopez, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I
So
seen
let's-
him live.
So-
Queen,
so
let me. I gotta get out of here. I just wanted to say appreciate you. Glad I made it on.
True.
Shout out to the channel, to the
Right.
Black
chat
is
and the
time.
panel. Yeah, you're back. It's time, and yeah, I'm gonna try to make it, even if I can't stay on every time. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try to
Appreciate
make
you.
an appearance on you.
Hey Tony, before you go, hey, the Knicks gonna win. They're gonna win the first round, man. Whoever they meet in the first round going home. I'm telling you that right now.
Wow.
They don't want
I
to see
time stamp it. I think they're
Time
gonna
stamp
send
it.
whoever they
Time
face the
stamp it.
first round. They're going home.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. And Randall gonna show out and prove that he is a star too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Randall
I
got some
think
things
he
to
already
prove.
a star, but he gonna make other people believe that he won.
Yeah,
You know
Randall
what I
got
mean?
his receipt book out.
Yeah.
He got his receipt book.
And
Right. I
Philly,
just want that.
Philly better hope we don't see them.
I know.
Because I'm gonna tell you, for some
Philly
reason,
or Cleveland. Philly or Cleveland, Ron.
Tibbs don't pretty much outcoach anybody in this league, pretty much. But he got Doc Rivers' numbers, and I think it's because they time in Boston.
Yeah.
Right.
When they won that championship together, he know Doc like a book.
Right. Let me just say this for with our communities, our children. People are acting like when Giannis came in the league that he was averaging like Ben Wallace numbers, like 2 points a game or something. So in his fourth season, 22.9 points a game, 8.8 rebounds, 1.6 steals, 1.9 blocks. Okay. Shooting 52% from the field and 77% from the free throw line. You understand what I'm saying? So Giannis in his fourth season was already showing something on good efficiency, right? He was putting up numbers on good efficiency. So people like to use Giannis like he was averaging 3 points and then all of a sudden he just popped in year 6. No. Giannis why would you give up on Giannis when he was averaging as your number one option? You understand what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make our communities, our children, is you can't just sit and wait and see. You gotta make educated guesses, because if you hold too long, you can lose. Just like if you get off of a player too soon, they can pop somewhere else. That's a fact. But You can hold on to RJ Barrett. Oh, I don't want to put him in a Donovan Mitchell trade. I don't want to put him in this trade. I want to hold on to him because I think and it's year 6, year 7, and he the same player, and you then lost out on an opportunity to move the franchise forward. So that's what I'm trying to say. These decisions aren't easy. You can't just sit and hold. Right? You got to make educated guesses. Anyway.
Got to be proactive.
Right. So let's move on to the next segment. Can the Knicks? So basically, we're talking about how the Knicks have played up to this point, and now we're talking about what we can expect from the Knicks going forward. When they come back from the All-Star break, they're going to have 20. There's 22 games left. So the two questions I have for the panel: can the Knicks move up to the 5th seed? They're 2 games behind the Brooklyn Nets right now. And then the second question, and we'll answer this a little later: can the Knicks finish with 50 wins? And in order to do that, they would have to go 13-9 over the last 22. But let's start with the first one. Can the Knicks move up to the 5th seed? There's some noise coming from somebody's mic. I'm not sure.
Wiz, mute your phone.
Okay.
No, you should
My
be good now.
Bluetooth died.
Okay. Anybody want to tackle that in terms of whether the Knicks?
I could start.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Andre.
Can they mathematically? Sure, they can. But do we want them to do that? That's another question. Because, like, who's going to be the matchup? Who's going to be the 4?
Cleveland.
Okay, so, and we like our chances against Cleveland, right? But you do realize the 4-5 bracket. If by some chance or some miracle you get past that, you realize what the next bracket is, right? You hit the number 1 seed.
Giannis.
You got to play. You can't be trying to be, positioned in,
Well, I know that. That's what we're doing, Queen. That's what we're doing. We're
money don't make no money.
That's what we're doing.
Thank you, Ron. Because you acting like you sound scared.
Money don't make no money.
You got a brain. You got a brain glue this.
We're gonna play the number 1. So what? We killed Boston. We matched up very good with Boston. So anyway, go ahead. Finish your point.
No,
I'm gonna go
I can let you talk about. I don't know if you've seen Boston play, man. They've gotten so comfortable. The game's so slow for them. It's sick how well they're playing together, Boston Celtics, and I hate to admit it.
I think the Knicks will make the 5th seed. I think they will.
They can mathematically. They can.
13. Only thing they need is 13 wins.
Can I read it off? I should have. Should I share the screen or just read it off in terms of who we got?
Just go ahead and read it, Queen.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and read it.
All right. We got Washington, New Orleans, Boston, Brooklyn, Miami, Boston again, Charlotte, Sacramento, the Clippers, the Lakers, Portland, Denver, Minnesota, Miami, Orlando, Houston, Miami again, Cleveland, Washington, Indiana, New Orleans, and Indiana. So tough. That's
still nasty. It's still nasty, but you know what?
I heard somewhere it was the 9th easiest schedule, and I said, "Are you really?"
And then Brooklyn, you got to think about Brooklyn's situation too. Brooklyn gonna keep falling too.
I don't know.
I think Brooklyn got the 7th hardest schedule also, so they could definitely drop.
Yeah, but I look at it like this: guys, that schedule only makes us better for the playoffs.
Let's not take Brooklyn for granted.
They got good talent over there. They got good players on that team.
Listen. We went into Brooklyn, and we handled our business. I'm not scared of Brooklyn at all.
Thank you.
They got good players, but I don't think they hold on to that seat, and I think they're gonna drop.
They don't got nobody like Brunson and Randle on that team.
No. And their chemistry, you got to look at it. They did a big swap, so they still got to work on the chemistry. We added a player. We added a player that fits the system, the way we play.
Yeah, and he can fit in any system.
And RJ, the same player that you said that was a superstar, cooked Mikal Bridges. cooked him. So let that sink in for a little bit, like how my man would say. Let that sink in.
Listen, their chemistry. I don't think they're gonna get it to work in time for the playoffs. So that's really a good thing for us. But they do have some good pieces over there.
Oh yeah, they long too.
Yeah.
They got some very good pieces.
But they long. I think we're gonna be. I mean, that schedule's it's tough, but I think it only helps us in the long run, because when you make the playoffs after going, running this gauntlet on the second end, it's just getting you mentally prepared to go into the playoff and go to war with good teams.
That's a good point too. You think about all those close games we played early on too.
Yeah.
We played a lot of close games.
Yeah, and it helps with the development of your players. Well, I'm not talking about just the physical development, but the mental development, because a lot of people think about the game of development, your skill set, but you don't think about the mental part of the game. As my man Worldwide L, South Worldwide L, the game within the game.
And the chemistry also.
Chemistry.
That's huge.
That's very important.
Like I said, I you know what? I don't. The way our team is set, I'm not scared of anybody you put us up against. Seriously, and it's not me jumping out of the window. It's just, if you're gonna play, you're gonna play. And I don't see us having a first round exit. So I wouldn't be scared. I'm not afraid of a first. I don't see that happen. First round in the playoffs. I don't. Second,
even if we match up, if we stay six right now, unless something changed since I looked at the standings last night, the Knicks would play Philly.
We can knock Philly off.
I'm looking at it like this, Queen. I'm looking at this, Queen. I think we're gonna go up. I don't see us sitting at that sixth seed. I see us going up. Okay. I can actually see us getting that fifth seed. I hear what you're saying. But I really look at us getting us that fifth seed, because depending, it's not, Brooklyn got some good players over there. They got some good players over there. I just can see that them slipping and us taking advantage and rising up, because we're going to catch some teams that's going to be slipping. Keep in mind, some teams, even though it's on this back end of the playoffs, are set. They, and it does go to jockeying or whatever else. You're going to have some teams they throwing in the chips. They folding, so they can go and for draft position.
Mm-hmm.
You have some that maybe want to rest a player or two to make a stronger run. So you never know how it goes. And then you got to factor in injury. So I'm just looking at everything as hell. I don't want to look at it as now. I'm trying to be as broad, have a wider vision.
Mm-hmm.
So Finger, check this out, right? Somebody said we not beating Philly. Stop. All right, let's look at the coach Doc Rivers. How many games or how many series has Doc Rivers given up? Let's start from the Clippers.
You got a history of it.
How many times he took Blake Griffin and what's his name?
But he had CP3.
Chris Paul. And they up 3-1. Gone. Look at Toronto. 3-1. Toronto came back with the lucky shot from Kawhi. Bro, look at the Atlanta series. So you telling me that we can't go in? You telling me that we can't go into Philly and defeat Doc Rivers? Come on, bro. I mean, you don't got no type of confidence in our team.
Let me say this real quick. And you got most people are comfortable with the Knicks. They like, I want to play Cleveland in the first round. I would rather play Philly in the first round.
Yeah,
and that's
wow. Okay.
I would rather play Philly, and that's the three. That's
given that history and given the history in the playoffs
and the matchups.
There's only one team in the East that I'm not afraid of them, but I'm a realist, and I recognize it would be a bad matchup for the Knicks, and that's Milwaukee. Everybody else can be
play them tough, but we can't close out against Milwaukee. The games
that's why the only team.
They have another gear. They have another gear they go to, and we can't match.
Yeah. That's the team. But Boston, all them other teams, the Knicks ain't gonna. I can see the Knicks upsetting any of those teams other than Milwaukee.
And Middleton always has, and for some reason, Chris Middleton, when he comes back off the injury, is on a whole nother level.
Shout out to that boy from Charlottetown.
And my thing is this, and to be honest, do we have a championship team put together right now?
No.
Seriously.
No.
So why are we scared to play anybody? You know what I'm saying? Why are people looking?
That's gonna let us know what we need.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking at.
And let me ask you this: in the series between Atlanta and Philly, how many people had Atlanta winning that series?
Oh, nobody. Man.
Okay then. Okay then. Okay then. So why we can't have a puncher's chance?
And I'm gonna tell you,
Fly
Philly
Mac
defense ain't the same.
and somebody else. I got y'all on receipts. Anytime we see we get to the second round, I'm calling y'all boys out. Know this from today.
Hey, even a blind dog can find a bone every now and again. So what's the problem?
I think we're gonna make it out of the first round, man. I stand on that.
I want Philly in the first round.
I think we coming out of the first round.
I want Philly,
and we're gonna be the 5th seed.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I just want to see how our guys operate in the playoffs. I want to see who we have. I want to see, if we got any dogs on this team or who the dogs are, who we're going to keep and who we need to move off of. So I'm really looking forward to this first round. And I don't think if we don't get out of the 4th round as a 6th seed or 5th seed that, it'll depend. Because I was going to say, I'm not going to automatically say we choked or whatever, but it depends on how we play.
You can't get swept.
We can't get swept. We can't, no. We got to win more than 2 games.
Can't be no gentleman's sweep neither.
Yeah, no gentleman's sweep. No.
None of that.
I mean, it has to be a dog fight from beginning to end. And like the Queen said, this is going to show us what we got. And you like, oh yeah, I can go to war. I can go to war. We can get in a street fight with these cats right here. But this cat right here, I thought he was doing something. Hey, like my man Ron was saying, this is your captain speaking.
and that plane already gassed up. That plane already gassed up waiting for the somebody gonna be on it. You can best believe that. And I'll say this is the last thing I gotta say because I gotta run my battery about to go. Man, when you look at where the Knicks is at, if the Knicks right now, the New York Knicks have actually exceeded expectations. Let's face it. Ain't too many people expected the Knicks to be talking on playoffs. And that in itself is a major accomplishment for the season, man. Shout out to Brunson and shout out to Julius. Because them 2 guys have been the linchpin for this thing, man. Them guys, we can count on them guys every night showing up. And not just showing up and playing. And that's another thing. Them guys don't take games off. You know what I mean? It ain't no load management with Brunson and Julius.
Right.
Hey, shout out to them guys. We just need them other guys to step up. And RJ, hey, I hope you get better. You know what I mean? It's gonna make a happy night for all of us as Knicks fans. If that young fella can step up, and quickly, I gotta say this last thing, and I'm gone. Quickly I think Quickly is my biggest surprise of the season. Emmanuel Quickly, ladies and gentlemen, is a 2-way player. He's a 2-way player. It's not just offense, but Quickly.
Right.
Quickly is a dog on defense. So, hey, y'all have a good night, man. This is Captain speaking. Hey, hit them like buttons. Subscribe to the channel. It ain't a request. It's a command. You heard me?
Hey, Ron, if you can, hit me up later.
Salute.
You're welcome anytime. You're not on Twitter, Ron, right?
I was on Twitter. I got off, but I was thinking about getting back on. I don't know.
I just want
people put stuff that just run your blood pressure up.
Yeah. I don't even read a lot of it. I wanted to know because I usually drop a link in a group, so I wanted to know if I should add you. So that's fine. If I see you, I'll just drop the link. You can hop.
Hey, I enjoyed this immensely. Hey, y'all have a good night.
All right, man.
You too, bro.
Hey, Stanley, you know what it is, man. Everybody on the panel, man. I love y'all, man. Knicks fan, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go.
Appreciate you.
Peace, son.
So this is the other question because somebody brought this up about Obi Toppin, and this is should the Knicks be active on the buyout market? Now, this is what I have to say. If we are active, we need a 3-4. Like we need somebody that could play 3 or 4. And if you can't get that, can we get at least a 4, power forward? But this is what I will say. If Obi Toppin is going to be, the Knicks have to, as a front office, think about this. If Obi Toppin is going to be a part of your future, I don't think you go out and bring in a Kevin Love, because I think Kevin Love might take Obi's spot if you going just by performance. You know,
Right.
sometimes
True.
if you're developing a player, sometimes you, even though they're not ready, you just give them the spot, so to speak, even though somebody on the team is better than them, because you see them as part of your long-term future and you want to give them the minutes to help them to develop. If Obi is not part of the Knicks' future, I say bring in Kevin Love. I don't think Obi is going to lose value, because I think teams around the NBA already know who Obi is. They already know he's stuck behind Randle. They already know that's why he's not getting a
Get
lot of
of
minutes.
burn.
And even if you was to bring in a Kevin Love and Obi was out of the rotation, they would still know that the Knicks are in a different mode, right now. They're trying to win. They believe Kevin Love is going to stretch the defense, just give them better minutes than Obi Top. I don't think he will lose value, but I think a lot of it depends on you bring Love in, because this is what the rumor people have been talking about it, based on what does the front office feel about Obi Toppin and his role with the organization moving forward. All of that being said, how do you guys feel about Obi Toppin's role going forward with the Knicks? Do you think the Knicks should not upgrade that position, whether he's staying or not, just let him play it out? Or do you feel like the Knicks have kind of crossed over, so to speak, into building a perennial playoff team at the very least, and they should try to upgrade the team on the buyout market? What's your thoughts on that?
Hey, I think your parallel comparison is, if we bench Sims when Mitch comes back, teams are ready to see what Sims can do.
Mm-hmm.
So same kind of parallel. I've been the Obi hive for a long time, but realistically, I think we have to look forward to potentially moving on from him. I really don't want Kevin Love coming in to diminish his playing time or his confidence or all the factors, all the chemistry aspects, but I wouldn't oppose it. I think Kevin Love can take us one step further than Obi can right now. So therefore, if I'm about winning, I'm okay with Kevin coming in. So, man, I'm on that uncomfortable place where I want Obi to get more. I see where he can go, but realistically, Randle is our power forward for the next 3 to 5 years, and I just can't see if Obi can survive being a backup to Randle for the next 3 to 5 years.
And you're gonna have to pay him.
And we gotta pay him next year. IQ and him gotta get paid next year. We gotta pay Josh Hart this year, and then even next year, if we're gonna keep iHart's contract ends next year. It's a 2-year contract. So does Sims, as a matter of fact. Both have 2-year contracts. So next summer, 4 people at least gonna be looking for paychecks of the current roster.
Now they can go to restricted. They can go to restricted free agency with IQ and Obi. So they could decide that we're not going to extend them. We're not going to sign them to a contract. We're just going to go into the season. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, if you don't extend them by the start of the season,
by October, I think,
you can't sign them after that.
They
go to restricted free agency. So you're right. You're right. They may have to.
You got to do a Mitch deal where you do a pre-agreement, kind of whatever was on the table.
Mm-hmm.
And again, most of them are CAA anyway. So Leon Rose, my neighbor is CAA agent. So I was asking him questions. Yo, how much you guys gonna pay? And he's like, we can't tell you these.
Right.
But I'm always like, what's on the table deal right now for whoever.
Right.
But yeah, so yeah, we gotta look forward to having some money available for those guys. And obviously, their own players that can go way above the cap. We can go luxury tax if we want to. And that means no one else comes in, or we trade them and, contract match for the next star. It's interesting, man. That's where I am. Go ahead.
You gotta agree with Wiz, man. Man, it's realistically, we probably might have to move on from this guy because he's not getting the playing time that he deserves. You know, as Queen said, the league already know what Obi is, and I'm just like Wiz too. I'm not opposed in bringing in Kevin Love because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to win, right? And Obi needs to be more disciplined on defense, right? Because there's a lot of times they beat him with the back door. They post him up, you know what I mean, take him to the basket, and he's fouling. So I believe if he could work on his defense, I think we may be able to probably keep him. When I mean keep him, like not go into the buyout to get Kevin Love, because I think that's one of his weakness. And he needs to keep on hitting those open threes like last night. He had 3 threes and he made them. I think he had 11 points. So if he could step up on those things, I think we may not even be. I think we don't even need to go to the buyout. But at the same time, we trying to win. So I'm not opposed to bringing in Kevin Love, and Kevin Love could probably teach him a couple of things because he have experience in playing in championship games. He had won a championship with LeBron, and he could also teach the guys in the locker room how to go about winning also too. So I don't have any problems with bringing in Kevin Love, but Obi has to step up his game also too.
I will say that Love is not playing defense either.
Yeah.
True.
Love ain't playing defense.
and also he has an injury history as well.
Right. I mean, we're looking for like what 10, 12, minutes a game. He's going to rebound the ball for you. He's going to hit the 3. He's not going. I don't think the lights are going to be too bright for him in the playoffs, which is somewhat of a concern I have with some of our players. Preferably, I would love a 4 that can rebound and defend behind Julius Randle. I'm okay if they were able to find a 3-4 in the buyout market over Obi, because I do think his time is up in New York, and I think that everybody knows what he can do. I don't think it's going to hurt his trade value, and I think the Knicks are just on a different trajectory right now. The Knicks are on the we're trying to put our best foot forward, and we're going to try to win. And I know there's some in the chat who feel like if you're not going to get out the first round, why even go? If you're not going to get out the first round, why even bring in somebody? Just let these young guys rock. You're going to lose anyway. But for me, how I see it is you put your best foot forward in the playoffs. If you lose, you lose. Now you have a good indicator of what you need to do to improve this team for the next round. That's why you do it.
Also, we're not replacing over Kevin Love. We are adding Kevin Love to the roster for a potential usage, for the experience of a champion NBA player who has extensive NBA playoff experience. So all of those factors are coming into play. And if he happens to be utilized, he's going to add the value he adds. We're not saying replace Obi. So don't say Kevin won't help us. He will help us in the mentality. A champion on the team. We have no one right now who's been to the finals. We have a guy who's actually won the ring. We have a guy who's played in more than 20 NBA playoff games and has the experience and solid enough to go, here is where we are. Randle, take a deep breath. I was there. I was right there. LeBron slapped me one time in the locker room because I was getting too excited. Whatever it is that he can do, he's going to bring us something that's going to help the team. And then, he's a rental. He goes in the summer. We keep Obi or remove Obi. We're not replacing Obi. We're adding to the roster. We have 2 open slots. Let's utilize them if we can to maximize our chance of winning the first round or doing very well in the first round. A step better. I'm not saying championship. Who's asking where is Love going to take us? A step better than where Obi can take us. We're not asking for a giant leap. We're asking for a step.
Is Thaddeus Young on the buyout market, Queen?
Excuse me?
Thaddeus Young. Is he on the buyout?
He is as well. I
That's
think
another
so.
good
I
pick.
wouldn't mind
I think
him
so.
either.
But
I
right,
wouldn't
so
mind him either.
I'm saying Kevin Love, but I'm whoever, Thaddeus Young, whoever it is.
Mhm.
I'm for Wiz, you bring up a good point. You're not even trying to replace Obi. You're just trying to bring somebody in with championship or playoff experience who are not going to be blinded by the lights of the playoffs. And then if
Mhm.
you have a player who, for whatever reason, is just falling apart in the playoffs, you have an option. We only won one game 2 years ago. We wouldn't have even did that if we didn't have Derrick Rose. He seemed like he was the only one where the lights just wasn't bright.
Yep.
Everybody else was like, "Yo, what's going on?" You know,
Mhm.
here. So yeah, I would like the Knicks now. Is there, usually on the buyout market, you got players who are going to championship contending teams, and the Knicks are just not that.
Yeah, and that's a big point. That's a serious point
Yes.
to point
Yeah.
out, Queen.
Yeah. So it is going to be hard for the Knicks to kind of sign maybe a Thad Young.
Thad Young would be a good piece.
Maybe Thad Young would come here. But I do think if the Knicks are going to be perennial playoff team, a perennial playoff team, or eventually a championship contender, this roster has to get a little older than it is. When you look at those championship contenders, they may have one, maybe two really young player in that rotation. Mostly they have, and I'm not saying you got to be grizzly 35 years old, but you have some experience in the league, and we don't have a lot of that on this roster in the rotation, I should say. Any other thoughts about the buyout market?
I think the buyout. Well, they probably take a look, but to be honest, I don't think we're gonna hit the buyout market. They probably, take a look, kick the tires. I know there's, Kevin Love is a name a lot, because it's a name and what he did. He could shoot, he could rebound, and I know you said something about, you just threw the name out there, Queen. Not saying you, but there are a lot of others that are looking at go get Kevin Love because of what he can do, but. Kevin Love probably wound up in one of those teams that are surefire contender to get to the championship, to get a champ. We're not there yet.
Right.
And the other thing is you got to look at the whole thing with Obi. I mean, look, Obi's not getting action because Randle is playing like he's playing. And it's a bad situation for Obi. In a lot of ways, that was a bad, wasted pick. So when you look at hindsight now, it's look like a bad wasted pick. So we can't look over the shoulder anymore. We just keep looking forward. Stafford said a good name. Thad Young would be a good player to bring in. A veteran that could probably give you some action. One player I like, and I said it before, man, look, people ready to crucify me, and I'm gonna say his name again. I've been screaming it. Stafford heard me say it. Ala Wise heard me say it. Run. But he's not nowhere near a player I like. I think would be a good fit would have been a Robert Covington if he was out there, because of what he can do. He can play the 3 and the 4. That's a solid veteran. We're not looking for somebody to come out and just light it up, but give you some stability and some experience. A veteran, but they'll probably kick the tires and everything. But I think we're gonna go to war with what we got. We're not gonna make any moves. I mean, if we do, I would be, I think it'll be somebody that fits Tibbs, and I haven't seen who's all on the buyout market, other players, because besides Terrence Ross, who's going to sign with Denver, if I'm not mistaken.
Denver.
He's signing with Denver. So and so it just depends, and we'll see which way it goes. But they'll kick the tires, but I don't see any traction. I really don't.
Right. Yeah, but just throw this idea around. I don't see us picking up anyone because anyone we really want is going to a contender who's much higher on the list. So the chances of us getting the one we want probably won't be there. So we're gonna probably just sit tight. Again, Tibbs 9-man rotation. Someone mentioned we have our rotation already. We have it. Actually, we're gonna be bringing in Mitch back. So we're gonna take one guy out of the rotation that's already there, and that's part of Sims, right? So right now, if anything, even if we get someone from the buyout market, unless it's a Josh Hart type, he's not coming in the rotation. He's going to be there on the bench as a fail-safe. That's it.
Because any other bigger name buyout player, we stood a better chance of running through HELL and gasoline draws. It ain't happening.
Definitely. Hit the like button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys. We have 178 in the chat, and we got 130
Wow.
likes so far.
Oh, nice. Let's hit that 150.
Yeah,
Smash that like button, man.
you know,
Nice.
yeah, I agree. They probably won't do anything in the buyout market because the type of players that they would want would probably go to championship contenders. But I would like to have a veteran, to your point, Wiz, whether they in the rotation or not,
Just in the
just
locker
on
room.
that bench, so that if it does get a little too hot and players aren't performing, we have some recourse. You know,
Right.
and it's not like we just got to rock with this player because we don't have anybody. Anybody else.
That's what Taj did for us when he was on the squad before.
Right.
Even though a lot of people didn't like Taj, he was or whatever, but that presence in the locker room and on that bench did help with the younger cats.
And Miami had what's his name? Was it Aslam? What's his name?
Oh,
Udonis
yeah.
Haslam, yeah.
Udonis Haslam,
yeah.
Father
Exactly.
time.
That's all they need. He didn't have to play. He just had to be there.
But wait, somebody picked up Dwayne Dedman. Like, what are you doing?
Yes,
with that guy?
I know. Yeah, exactly. I know.
That's when Ajay sent me a clip. I believe he was a content creator, and he was so upset with the Philly front office for picking up Dedman. And it just goes to show that the same thing that we're talking about here with Tibbs, Philly is talking about with Doc Rivers, Atlanta is talking about with what's his name? Nate McMillan.
Nate.
Yeah.
You know,
up in Toronto.
Toronto. Yeah.
And I saw in the chat.
Even what's his name? The coach in Milwaukee. They even
I know
talking about him.
And
can you believe that?
Already.
Hey, and in the chat, I want to shout out D Public Enemy #1. We were running. It's not Denver. Ross went to. He went to Phoenix, according to D Public Enemy #1. He went to Phoenix.
Thinking. Yeah.
So I couldn't remember who it was. I thought it was, but now that just because Reggie Jackson.
Man,
that's what it was. He's
I'm
that's
surprised.
Man,
Reggie Jackson, man.
Well, they bring him home. They bring him back. You know, he's from Colorado. They bringing him home. So I mean, but that was a surprise too. So I mean, you know, those teams are going to be loading up. They loading up, and what we're doing right now.
Oh man,
I mean, we're going to get experience, and I know a lot of people don't want to hear experience and all this and that if you want to win now, because we haven't won in so long. You know, not since Woody won a playoff series. So now we want to win. And look, we're going to get a lot of these young cats that we've been wanting to say that, you know, you don't play young cats here. He's playing young guys. They're going to get a lot. They're going to get in the mix. They're going to get knee deep, neck deep in it for the rest from the rest of the season on. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is what it is. You know, it's put up and shut up.
And so Finger, the 80%, 90% of our team is young. You when you got two older guys on there.
Yes,
Fournier
exactly.
and Rose.
D Rose, yeah.
You know, so
right. Oh, and somebody said that in the chat that we do have Fournier and Rose, but the only thing is that I just don't think Tibbs would go to them in the playoff if the heat was turned up and a player wasn't performing.
He'd go to Fournier, I think.
You think he would go to
Fournier?
What,
Queen? Queen? I think he might play Rose if it's needed to, because Rose got, you know, experience, you know, in playoff games and know what Tibbs wants. So I wouldn't be surprised if in a playoff game we see Derrick Rose come off the bench for at least 5 minutes or something like that.
Right.
You know,
that's a good possibility because, you know, Derrick Rose got that experience. You know, and I know Fournier is situational. Hey, you may have to break glass in case of an emergency in some certain situations and throw him out there. Granted, we know his defense ain't the greatest, but sometimes you may need a bucket and or spread or use him as a decoy to spread the floor because you know certain shots. So it just depends on who you play and the situation you in.
Thank God the Wizards didn't waive Taj Gibson, because we'd scoop him right up.
Oh man, you know he'd have been there. Look, he wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. It would have been 5 minutes on the open market.
And what about Burks? I read somewhere that Detroit was buying him out, but I don't think that's the case, right?
Oh man!
Well, I read something. I saw something about the rumors.
Because
if he gets bought out, oh Lord Jesus, he's gonna be back.
I have a question. How are the rules? If he's bought out, can we bring him back? Because we just traded him.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You gotta wait a year. I think you gotta wait a year if I'm not.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't think so.
Well, and I think because I heard it was certain players in it because I know Nerlens was possibly a buyout candidate or something or whether,
Nerlens gonna play in China.
Yeah, he may go to the Shanghai Sharks or the Singapore Stingrays or whatever.
But Queen, back to your question, right? 50 wins. I think we could go at least 45. I'm saying 45.
So 45 with 37 now. So you're talking about just 8 more wins. So you think the Knicks are gonna go?
No, we 33. We 33. So 45.
The Knicks are 37.
No, 33. No, last year it was 37.
We only got
last year was
wins right now.
Yeah,
33 wins.
We won 37 last year, Queen. Last year we won 37.
27. You know what? Yeah. No, that's too much.
Last year.
I thought we were
12 and 9.
We had 37 wins, and I was like, oh, we just need to go 13 and 9.
12 and
9.
That's too much. That's 30.
12 and 10. 12 and 10.
Yeah, so I'm thinking at least 45 wins, man.
45. Yo, I'm thinking 47.
I'm right there with you, Stafford.
I'm saying 47. I said at least 45, but I think we're gonna go 47, 48 because 2 games above 500 is actually where we would have been a month ago without Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart brings us another 2 games above that. So 5 games above 500 means that we can go 14 wins, 14 and 8, 6 games above.
14 and 8. Yeah. I'm sorry. When I was saying 13 and 9, I thought we already had 37 wins, but it's 27 losses. 33 Yeah, I think 50 is out of the question because you're talking about going 17 and 5. No, the Knicks are not.
And 5. Yeah, that's.
No. Like I said, for us to do that, like I said, Queen,
we can go 12.
Instead a better chance of running through HELL and gasoline draws, doing something like that. Stand a better chance of jumping in a vat of piranha with a steak.
But here's the thing about it, though. I don't want us to peak that early. If we was to go on a run like that, because we'll get tired out when we get to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just take a steady step and reach 45. So I think that's realistic.
But even 45, you're still talking about going 12 and 10.
12 and 10.
12 and 10. Yeah.
Okay,
I think that's not bad.
That's doable. Yeah, I think that's doable.
But 10 losses to the lineup. I mean, to the rest of the schedule we have sounds like a lot because I see 5 losses in the current schedule we have left. I could see 8, but 10 would mean I almost feel like we're slumping if we had 10 losses this next 22 games. I don't know why. They feel like a slump to me. I don't know. I mean, obviously, maybe I've already.
Well, listen,
I've drank the Kool-Aid already.
We still got LA. We still got the Clippers. We still got Denver. We still got to play 3 games against Miami. We still have Cleveland.
No.
2 against
we only played them 2 times or 4 times?
Boston.
Who's that?
Miami.
Don't we play Miami 4 times or 3 times?
3 times.
4 for the year.
3 more. We got 3 more against Miami.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. So 3 more Miami.
2 more against Boston.
So
2
Boston
more
losses, yes, I'm counting those. Yes.
We still gotta go on the West Coast, which is LA and the Clippers, right? We play Denver at home.
I'm counting those as 5 losses, maybe 7, easy.
And keep in mind,
I think we could beat Portland. You know,
I think
we could beat Orlando. I think we could beat Charlotte. I think we could beat Indiana 2 times again.
You got Houston
I
in
think
there too.
I think
So,
could
you know,
split with Boston personally.
I don't know. We
He
could
could
beat.
split with Boston.
I don't know. We could beat Portland, man. I know that night Cam Reddy's gonna score 45 points, man. I don't know what
Oh,
How you know that?
you know,
How you know that?
and they
you
got
know
Kevin
that?
Knox. And they got Kevin Knox.
45
So, you know, they got it
45 triple double.
Yeah,
A 45 triple double.
They got Cam and K Knox. You know, they got it circled. They're like, yeah, I'm about to
Oh,
the white.
snap.
that's a revenge game.
15 and
If Cam score 45 points, I'm giving you $100 at SK. I'm giving you $100.
Okay.
I got you too. I got you.
You gotta be crazy.
I got 50 and I got 50 of that for you.
Hey,
I got half. I get,
seriously though,
Listen,
you
the
gotta,
last game, Cam Reddy scored 18 points.
yeah,
I know.
In 32 minutes.
But keep in mind, you got to look at those teams like that you know they can't even spit at playoffs or play in. So you know, a lot of teams gonna start packing. Some teams gonna pack it in.
right.
You know, granted, the
Portland
players
is
are
like
trying to
11.
win, but you gotta. Yeah, I mean they're trying to go for a play in.
They're outside of the play in, Portland.
They're outside of the play in, so they may be trying to press.
Right. And listen, nobody said that Cam Reddish couldn't score.
Yeah.
The issue is just fit with the coach. And this happens all over the NBA. Bones Highland, very talented, was sitting on Denver's bench out of the rotation because he just wasn't the coach's type of player. And then they moved on from him. They traded him. Sadiq Bey. From Detroit. James Wiseman got traded from Golden State. So I don't think anybody is saying that these guys aren't talented. Fit matters. The offense they're running matters. How many people are at your position matters. All of those things, mattered. Cam is just not a Tibbs guy. Nobody is saying he's not talented. Same thing with Obi. He's not a Tibbs guy. Nobody is saying Obi isn't talented. But this is what happens throughout the league, not just in New York. Go down the rosters. You're going to see talented guys not getting any light on a particular team. It happens all over the NBA. And you're going to see draft picks as well. Like we get on tips. Oh, he's not playing the young people. Johnny Davis from Washington. I don't even know if he's logged a minute this season.
Yeah, he's been G League. He's been G League heavy.
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Mark Williams is just getting time, and Charlotte has been out of playoff contention for I can't tell you how long. And their center, their draft pick, Mark Williams, just now they traded Plumlee, and now he's getting time. So it's happening.
Shout out to Jarrell.
They've been out of playoff contention since November. Charlotte.
Yeah.
And see, Charlotte is definitely a team you can see going
out the gate right at all. It was all from the get go.
And you can see them. I can see a team like Charlotte trying to jockey for that draft position to get one of these young monsters that's coming out. Because you hear about the Victor and you got Scoop. So those teams may be trying to pack in for that. And a real quick shout out to my home state homeboy Jarvis.
Appreciate you. He said he got to go to work at 3:45, and he been rocking with us. It's almost.
I think he in Louisiana, right, Soulfinger?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah. That's my home state homeboy right there from down out of Alexandria, if I remember right.
But Queen, I seen somebody said that how Trevor Ariza, Cousins, who else did he have in there?
Rodney Hood.
Rodney Hood.
Rodney Hood is out the league. He is out the league right now, right?
Yeah,
that's all right. He's out there. I know
You know what? I wouldn't mind grabbing one of those two guys. I wouldn't put my money on Serge or Cousins, but Trevor Ariza or Rodney Hood, I think that would be a good 14, 15 man on the bench. Little experience, defense.
When was the last time Trevor Ariza played, though? I don't know if we're gonna be able to. I don't know if we could put him in for a few minutes. I don't know.
And see, I wouldn't bring in, a Cousins, not somebody you want to bring because he wants to get on the court. So that'd be that's
Cousins.
And we're strong at that. I think we're strong at that position, unless you're going to play him at the power forward.
No.
If you're going to play him behind Randle, Well, we're pretty strong at center. If you're playing them at
Yeah.
center, we're strong.
No, we got good on Cousins. Ibaka is an option to back up Randle if Obi can't handle the pressure.
Listen, I'm
But
playing Obi.
those two wings is not bad though. Those two wings are not bad.
Ibaka is washed. Done.
Who's done?
Ibaka. He
Surge.
might be. I mean, we
done.
haven't seen him to know.
Yeah, we hadn't seen him, but yeah, I'm kind of.
That's the problem. When you get a certain age, if we don't see them, that means they don't play. That means they're not in the groove. It's done.
Look, Surge is
Not
30.
necessarily.
What?
It could just be who they have on that team, who they have on on the roster.
Yeah.
And it's just how they use him because he wanted to get out of there anyway. So it's a possibility. And then that's another thing. You know, we're looking at Surge, but I think if Surge hits the free agency market, the buyout market, one of these contender teams is going to snatch him up.
Right.
But he is though. Didn't they buy him out? They bought him out, didn't they?
Nah, I don't think they bought him out yet. But you know, it's a possibility. Like, you got to look at.
He's on the Bucks.
Yeah, They sent him home. They gave him the John Wall treatment.
Oh, they sent him home? Wow.
Yeah, he's been at home for a while. They told him to go, hey, just go home and don't call us. We'll call you.
Continue making your exotic food and cooking and all of that.
Yeah.
All right, we about to get out of here. You know, just lastly, I just want to remind everybody who may not be into the All-Star weekend that Grimes is playing Friday night in the Rising Stars game.
Shout out to my son.
Yeah, Sims will be in the slam dunk contest. That's
now
Saturday
we know why.
night.
Now we know why Obi didn't get in it.
Right. Those festivities start around 8, but it ends with the slam dunk contest if I'm correct. And then the big game Sunday. Oh, excuse me.
Randle.
For those who didn't know, Randall's going to be in the 3-point shooting contest.
Yeah.
Saturday as well.
I do not know what that's about, man.
No, he's replacing Anthony Simmons. He got hurt.
He got hurt. But hey, and for all that
why
smoke
Randall?
bringing.
Why not Brunson? He's a better 3-point.
I know.
Well,
Yeah.
he's top 10 in 3-point made in the entire league.
Mm-hmm.
Randall.
There you go. There you go, SK.
And also he shot the
wow. And he's leading the league in 3-point shots in the first quarter too. So let that sink in. Let that sink in. Shout out to my man.
Yo, his first quarters are insane. I mean, it comes out the gate like on fire.
Yeah. For the season, he's only shooting 33.8%. But as of late, that includes those early numbers when he wasn't shooting that well, like the first, 8, 10, 12, 14 games. I'm not sure how many it was. I think he's been shooting better since then if you take those out. And then Sunday he'll be participating in the All-Star game. They're doing it a little different now. 10 minutes before the game is when they're going to do the draft. Just like you used to play in the playgrounds, used to go there and you be standing there right before, all right, I picked this guy. That's how they're going to do it.
I got my man right here. But I will say this, Queen, before anything else. Brunson, because I think somebody may not be going in.
Jalen Brown.
Maybe Brunson needs to be there one.
But when they're going to announce it, though, I mean, goodness gracious.
I know. It's so long. I know.
Brunson should have that spot.
Brunson's going to go, man. Watch.
Well,
he should have that spot.
There's Harden.
And Giannis hurt his wrist tonight, too.
Yeah.
Right. So he may not go. But there's Brunson, there's Harden, and there's Trae Young. Right? Now, the only thing I would say that may not be working in Brunson's favor is the Knicks are in 6th place. Usually, if you're a 6th place team, you don't get 2 All-Stars. Usually, let's see what's happening. Between Brown, DeRozan, and Giannis, all three of them might be able to.
Oh man.
Well,
so
I mean, Brooklyn Nets. when they did the All-Star, Brooklyn Nets was in 5th place. They did get 2 All-Stars. Well, granted, they were voted in.
They were voted in by the fans.
Yeah,
Now the
Voted
coaches,
in
the
by
coaches.
fans, right?
But Brunson went on a tirade to show you I should be in order. Because he said, "Oh, you want to put Trae Young in over me?"
I'm telling you.
Hey, he said, "You want to put Trae Young over me? Hold my beer." And you saw what he did.
He gonna be in there.
And then Garland as well in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Forgot about
Mhm. Now I wonder who's gonna feel badly if they get picked last, like you used to be on the playground.
Hey, it don't matter if you get picked last. You are all-star. You know.
No, I meant on Sunday when they do
I'm just saying.
the 10 minutes. They'll be like, I don't want him. Like LeBron and KD that time when KD and LeBron were trying to avoid picking up was it Harden?
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, I'm not taking him. You take him.
But I'm actually looking forward to watching it because I want to see our players, to see the Knicks representation, because it's been a long time.
Oh my goodness!
I think the last time the Knicks had a lot of representation like this, Moby Dick was a sardine. So we just got to get something going.
That boy stupid.
That's true. Any last words?
Yeah, salute to the Queen, man. It's always a pleasure coming on here, man. You know it always gets wild after 11 o'clock, like my man Jarrell was said. We miss him tonight. Condolences to him and his family. I hope he's doing okay. Shout out to the chat, because without the chat, there'll be no us up here giving our opinions, and we need y'all feedback also too. Shout out to the panel, Wiz on the West Coast, Soulfinger on the West Coast, my second half on the NBA one-on-one. We're going to get that show back on the road.
Get it cracking again.
RJ, shout out to you. And the Queen, of course. You know what I mean? Salute to you, Queen. You know what I mean? It's always good.
I just want to say thank you for letting me come in, Queen. I know you want to get, when me and my right hand were getting it in before, you want to get, I just couldn't get with my schedule, run around with basketball out here and everything. But I appreciate you letting me in.
Absolutely.
I finally, look, I feel like somebody. I made it up here to get on the show with the Queen and everything, the panel. I feel kind of special today. I mean,
and you are.
Hey, but and as always, Queen, you always bring out the great content and you challenge us to think. And I appreciate what you do, because one thing when the Queen speaks is like E.F. Hutton. You gotta listen. For those that remember who E.F. Hutton is, it was a great panel, great show. A great, shout out to the chat. Like my man Devon says, hey, the chat is where it's at, and I said, hey, shout out to him. But it was great to be on and everything and talk what we love to talk about, our team, our Knicks.
Our team.
Granted,
That's right.
like I said, everybody got their own vision. Everybody want to see this, but the one thing we can all say is that we all love the Knicks. This is our squad. And granted, I'm not from the city, if you can't tell by the way I talk. I'm about as country as a sugar sandwich. It is what it is. But one thing I will tell you, if you cut me, I bleed that orange and that blue.
There we go.
And I'm on the West Coast. Hey, look, I'm on the West Coast, and just like Wiz, we deep in he really in Laker country. He in Lakerland.
Laker country, hard in Lakerland.
Yeah, and from SoCal, SoCal is Lakerland, and I'm out here, rocking my Knicks gear, and you think I ain't talking? I say it with my chest. I'm walking around like a peacock when I'm talking trash. When they get to trying to talk, but they can't say anything. They can't say anything because I just say, look at your record.
Nice.
Right.
But I appreciate it. I thank y'all for letting me come on in, and I hopefully I'll be able to rock with you again. Shout out again to my man Stafford Dunn, my right hand.
All right, man.
Yo, Queen, thank you again. Ditto to what he says. It's an honor to be on the panel with you. I was asked, am I contributing? Hopefully I'm giving some contribution in some way. I appreciate it. Thanks for challenging me. Again, like I always say, the Queen is always right. Even when she's wrong, she's logically correct. Except for my A+ to Tibbs, I will not live that. I'm out the window with that one. I'm like, no, A+. But other than that, I mean, Queen, yeah, I missed 2 mornings so far. I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning. I go, oh, Queen's on an hour. Let me get ready. But let me put my head down on the pillow for a little bit longer. They said it was like 7 o'clock. I'm like, oh, damn. But I always put a comment in afterwards.
Yeah, I appreciate
exactly. I watched it back, replayed, put my like in, put a comment in. I throw a comment all kind of. It's like I don't know. It's a long comment this time. I was like writing a book, but I said Queen's gonna read it that way.
Go through my comments.
Exactly. But everybody like, subscribe, comment, show love to the Queen. I mean, class act Queen, and I look forward to. Coming to some games, and maybe I'll come to DC, and maybe I'll come to DC with you guys and come hang out. Awesome. Who knows? I may fly. I may have to go pick up Soulfinger in my private jet, and we fly to DC. We'll hang with the Queen.
Hey, I'm only 2 hours down the road. Let's get it.
There we go. Well, thank you, Queen. Thanks, Staffer. Ajay, always, man. Much respect, much respect. Yard man.
Chinny man, chinny.
Yeah, man, Trinity. Yeah, we know.
All right. Well, Ajay, Soulfinger 12, Staffer, Wiz, Tony Crow, Jarrell. Again, condolences to you and your family. Travel safe. You'll definitely be in my thoughts and in my prayers. And then Tsunami. Nothing but love for you as well. You're in my thoughts and in prayers. Also, and shout out to the chat, man. I mean, there's no show without the chat. You guys always have something useful to say. You guys have, you contribute to the show as well. And as much as I can, I try to read your comments. There's a lot of panel members like tonight. I just put the comments up. I may not get an opportunity to read it, but nothing but respect. And you guys have helped make me a better host. Because I do read your comments. And for me, it's not about being right. It's just, this is where I am today. And then I'll hear Soulfinger say something, or I hear Wiz say something, or somebody will say something in the chat. And I'll be like, that's a good point. And then that helps my, my thinking evolve around a particular topic, except tips. So I appreciate you.
Hey, you saw that no look. Hey, Queen did that real slick. That was that no look. You didn't see it.
That was a no look, exactly.
The no look behind the back.
But I appreciate you guys rock with me. Sometimes I get a little chippy in here, and I'll be like, man, I ain't gonna have nobody in the chat when I come back after that show today. And y'all give me grace, and and y'all come back. So it's nothing but love. And I do this because it's fun. I do it because it's because it's fun. So all right, we are out of here. Let me see if I can find this, and I will see you guys.
Peace and love.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't so.
Where you at?
Don't so.